Ladies and gentlemen, after weeks of qualifiers, we are finally here at the Element Phoenix final event. There is money on the line and games to be played, but OSK, first of all, how are you doing today, my friend?
Man, just look at me. I'm doing fantastic. We got the suits on today. It's time to get serious. I've been waiting about a month for this to get started. And you know what? I think what better time to bring it on 10-10. It's going to be a 10 out of 10 today. And I'm ready to see some plays today. What about you?
I'm ready to see some plays as well, but quickly we got to run through the format. So this is a classic solos event. There's going to be 6 games played. Your 4 highest games of the 6 get counted towards a total. At the end of these games, we wrap it all up, and the 3 highest scores get rewarded. First place gets $100 USD, second place gets $60, and third place takes home 40. There's a lot of money to go around, a lot of action to be had, and I want to hear some predictions from you before we drop into this game one situation.
We were talking right before this qualifier. I think that my number one pick definitely has shown himself to be quite a menace in this sort of event. We saw him in qualifier one, and you're going to see him again today. And I'm going to pick Tfal to take the entire thing with a nice little second place pick of Megaverse. I think we sleep on him just a little bit. He was a little bit under what we thought he would get in his qualifier. I believe it was qualifier 3, but nonetheless, I am expecting some big things out of those two.
Yeah, those are both very, very fair predictions. I'm going to stick with UT as well for my win to take it all, and that's going to be Kamsky. I saw those Game 5 highlights, and some of those were just nuts. This guy has the it factor. He has that ability to turn it on and pop off in at least 4 games. So I think it's a safe bet to take Kamsky to win it. In the pocket, though, this is my pocket pick. It's going to be Ilya. I see this guy at scrims all the time. He also is somebody who stays calm under pressure, and he plays a nice build style that's a little bit different than the meta. So it's going to be cool to see Ilya coming out here and representing. Also, something to note, though, for anybody who's been watching qualifiers throughout these weeks, this event has 30 players playing in it. We usually run the qualifiers with 25 players, so you will see generally more action in this game than you've seen in the previous qualifiers. There's less space on the map in between competitive players. There's going to be more fights happening, OSK, more rotations for these players to make, and less loot for the 30 of them to share. I'm expecting and hoping to see early fights off the bat, but we don't know. Sometimes people play calm once the money's on the line. Isn't that right, OSK?
Absolutely. And we see both sides of that coin. You get some people that are going to be playing passive, just trying to play for placement a little bit, take the safe route, not really wanting to stick their neck out so that it can be quickly chopped off there. But on the other side of the coin, we're also going to see a lot of aggression. We have people like we said, Tfal and Kamsky. We know that they are known for their aggression, and they're not afraid to kind of get up in everyone's face and just shove a nice little lightning bolt through it. So I'm expecting both sides of the coin. You're going to see some hyperpolarization. You're going to see some players play it safe. Some people play it aggressive, and I really do think that we are going to see a little bit of a shift in the builds as well to cover that. We've been seeing quite a plethora of those. Your classic runic fluency, fervor, and recovery is always going to be making a nice little appearance out here. You're also going to see a little bit of harmony, scavenging, and maybe even some thirsty in there too. So I'm really interested to see who is going to pick what and for what reasons.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see builds. There is a quick little change to the game from the previous weeks as well, and that is the addition of Chronomaster. Personally, I don't think that'll make too many waves in these competitive games. I think it just kind of increases the loot table, makes it a little harder to get a dash off the drop, but we'll see exactly what happens. Maybe we'll see a crazy play where somebody whips out the triple Chronomaster with Conduit. I don't know for sure. I think it takes a lot of mobility away from you, but we'll see what happens. That is something to note before we get into these first games. There is changes to the matches themselves.
Absolutely. And you bring up a great point. Chronomaster, the new rune, definitely making some ripples, but I don't think all the right ones. The only thing that I can maybe see it paired with is maybe if you run a conduit setup with runic fluency, maybe you get a little preemptive charge onto Chronomaster so that maybe you can go into a fight with 3, hit that nice little sorcery and charge it up for 4. I mean, that's really the only way I see it going down. Either way, it's not going to give you any movement, and honestly, I don't expect it to be used too much, but I still can see it being used in a niche circumstance. Now, in terms of who we have playing in this tournament, I do have to mention that we did have a few people just not show up this morning. So we do have some replacements coming in. The most notable, Croza is not going to be in this one. For whatever reason, we had him in our highlight video that you saw. One of the highest scores that we saw out of the qualifier winners, unfortunately, didn't he didn't make it out here this morning. So he's going to be replaced by a very Crisp. Now, how do you think Chris is going to be doing today?
I think it will do a big adjustment to the actual matches themselves. We all know that Croza is a very talented conduit player. Chris, on the other hand, usually pulls out the Pyro and the Stone Shaper. So just the switch of those two players is going to have an impact on how these play out. We all do know that Chris is still a talented player, so I don't think it's too heavy of a drop. Of course, it's unfortunate to lose Croza. You guys saw those highlights in the video. He's a nasty player. But that being said, OSK, everybody on this list from head to toe is a nasty player. We got 30 of the best Spellbreak players out here competing in these solo lobbies. To recap quickly as well, the first 3 games will be played on NA East. The second set of 3 will be played on EU. We do talk about it every week about the changes that has when you have to switch over for these players, playing on a different level of latency. We'll see exactly how it comes out today, but I don't expect too much difference. We did see in the qualifiers maybe somebody switched from Conduit to Pyro when you're playing from lower to higher latency, but I don't expect it too much, you know. Something I wanted to mention though was Ashen Frost whipping out the Tempest with the Toxic offhand. This was a big talk of the town after he came and popped off with it. Do you expect to see him stick with that build in the finals?
I really think that it's going to depend on all the pressure that he gets in the first few games, because he did that in a qualifier that Kamski and Tfal were not in. And you know how dangerous they are with their Toxicologist and Conduit builds respectively. So it's going to be very interesting to see if anyone's going to be looking to counter any Tempests today. And if they are, I would expect the Frost to make a bigger appearance than the Toxic. But still, he is very, very talented with both of those builds. So if he brings it out, I really hope he can make it useful. But just keep in mind that this is a much higher caliber than any qualifier that we've ever been a part of.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Again, these players are deadly all the way down to it. You cannot pick a fight irresponsibly. You will get punished immediately. I'm excited to see exactly what that entails for these players. I know it's also a high-pressure situation. It's something we don't think about as much from the casting desk, but the players playing in qualifiers know that the stakes are lower than today. You have to be able to perform under high levels of pressure, and as we get into game 1 right now, we'll see who can pull it out. We start with Eternal, another player who slid his way into this finals, having a nice qualifier in the last week, and Kamski, one of the stars of the show, my bet to win at OSK, and we're going to keep on bouncing as it looks like a slow start to this game for sure.
Absolutely, and here's another player who made itself into this list next. He didn't have the best showing in his qualifier, but I would imagine it's going to be much better in this game as we keep bouncing around looking for any sort of action. Looks like there is a little bit. Megaverse actually takes out Ashen Frost quite early on. So there's Mike Pocket Pick already showing his face out here, and I would imagine there's number 2 and Kamski making himself known as well. So it looks like my Pocket Pick really making himself known in this first game.
Yeah, and as we do bounce around these and you see people's builds just a little bit, oh, we got Ilya into a fight as well. Let's quickly take a break and see what happens. Dodges his way out of the sorcery coming in from his opponent, throws a boulder to the face for 27 with corrosion ticking. Ilya doing a great job of dealing the damage to this opponent without taking much in return. Look at the trades as he hits a nether to stack corrosion, throws down a cloud, hits a boulder to the face. This is just such good positioning from Ilya. He does get tagged by the CC, but now he's waiting for the chrono. Gets his opportunity, but only hits it for 9. An unfortunate slap right there on what could have been a major moment for Ilya as he misses the boulder into the missed shockwave. Huge moment once again as Ilya has to back up. The lightning is doing a lot of pressure to him as the damage and CC lands. Ilya now pushes forward, does get hit with the wind though. Ilya sees the chrono from the opponent, waiting patiently, sees him pop up, but his build does not account for this jump up from Tempest. It's hard to deal with when you're running Stone Tops. OSK, he might have to just peel out of this situation completely.
Yeah, it looks like he will do that. And this was actually a little bit of a discussion that we had in the Element Discord, is whether or not this Chronomaster Tempest play will actually show itself in the finals. And it looks like it does early on. Looks like Bastion is going to end up taking the kill right there, and this might be him here right now. Sot didn't actually get the last hit onto it. And he is rocking the lightning offhand, so he will be able to get some free damage if he can find some line of sight. And Bastion just going to be immediately crashing on his position. Looks like he's burned all of his movement options, and Bastion really has to take note of that and push in if he can. Let's see if he can finish it out.
Yeah, it looked like when Soft did get a quick DPS check, he saw that Bastion has a lot of HP, but look at the damage! Soft hitting multiple fireballs to put it right back to even. Pushes forward now, nice dash into the air shot. Hits him for 30, you know the Ignite is still going to be ticking. He does have Lightning offhand to put more pressure, but he opts not to use it. There it comes out now, but he eats a fireball from Bastion. Soft now just taking a second. This is a risky pot. Taking it in the middle of the field. Bastion's not going to let that happen. Drops the DF now. Soft is playing on the front foot. Throws down the firewall with both sorceries. Misses a crucial fireball though, and now they're both going to push off. This is such an awkward fight, and I know a third party is smelling the blood in the water and is going to come clean this up. They have to be careful here, OSK.
Absolutely, and you're seeing Soth landing some beautiful fireballs here. He's absolutely a master of prediction, looking to circle around on this higher wall. Bastion has put himself in a little bit of an unfavorable situation, but it looks like they trade, as Bastion now has the higher ground, but he also has the lower health. So I don't think that'll be very good for his livelihood in this event. If Soth can close the distance and get a little bit of lightning action, this will be an easy exile for him. The question is if he can close the distance at all, and it looks like Bastion is going to make his life a little bit harder for the wearer.
Yeah, well, Bastion's doing an amazing job of breaking line of sight. You see him using that dash ring off cooldown. Soft connects off the side, but it's not enough! Hits an air shot straight to the dome on Bastion to finish the kill. That was a super, super extended fight, but Soft did manage to clean it up with the fire. I expected him to use lightning to clean that up, but he did get a beautiful air shot to close it out. Storm was coming in too, so that was a very, very crucial moment as he finishes the kill, and we keep on bouncing on, looking for more action. 24 people left in this game still. Eureka's got that new skin that's on the market. And we're going to see Kalnor now. Looks like he's taking a pot. Not much of a fight happening in front of him. Maybe he just rotated out of one as you see him drinking pots as soon as possible. A lot of resources in front of him as we see in the kill feed. Shingy takes out T-Fall. So that is a huge drop in game one. Moktola now also rotating around the map. We got all sorts of players with all sorts of different builds. And speaking of different builds, we got the Darkbreakers on that Stone Shaper Toxic offhand focused mana. Now that is something new that I haven't seen too much of, OSK.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very scary build to run into, especially if you're on the third-party side of things. This man, if that stone is as big of a rarity as I think it is, he can hit for over 50 damage easily. And that's not something that is going to only hit once, because Darkbreakers does a very good job of spacing out his shots whenever it's applicable. So you're probably going to be eating 50 damage every time that stone comes out. And Trago with the nice snipes, absolutely what we expected from him. The exile count's a little bit low, but we don't expect any different on these higher caliber lobbies here. He's going to be looking to rotate around, maybe get a different angle, as his opponent seems to have fled his sight for the moment.
Yeah, really smart decision by Trago to know that his opponent is going to keep moving through the storm. He spots him again. Trago has an opportunity, but his opponent does break line of sight just in time. In the kill feed, you see Kamsky get one onto Yovipu. Now we're down to the low 20s as the numbers continue to dwindle. Bouncing around to some more loading screens, and we'll see if we can find some action. SK Majin, keep in mind, is on the Conduit. Not as much Conduit as I would have expected. I personally think it is the strongest class in the game right now, but it looks like these players do not agree with me. Players like Kamsky and others rocking a lot of Pyro and Toxicologist, and we see Next as well on that Toxicologist train. He managed to secure Shadow Step, which I know is huge for getting your outbreak damage and getting a more consistent mid-game fight. We'll see exactly who's going to pick this next fight, as it looks like a bit of a mid-game lull is setting in, OSK.
Yeah, and what you said about Toxicologist and Conduit is really, really important here, because we know that Toxicologist can get that absolute burst of damage, whereas Conduit takes a little bit more time to sort of ramp up. It is very oppressive if you can find the right sort of environment to use it in, but Toxicologist can just finish fights out so quickly, and in a solo environment, when you have scavenging as an option, it's definitely going to be more worth it in this scenario to run Toxicologist, I would think. Now, Conduit's still going to be great in other modes, and I still think it is the best class in the game for multiple reasons, but Toxicologist definitely not anything to shy at about. It looks like we're going to see the effect of Conduit right here, as Wolf actually just lands that beautiful Ice Lance, and now looking to converge on his opponent with that common, no less.
Yeah, he actually just weaved that in between the window on both shots. Nice take by Wolf to get some damage down onto his opponent. He knows that he is flesh, but that lightning is going to deter him just a bit. Wolf now still chasing with that frozen alacrity to give him that smooth speed. Gets over the side, sees his opponent, has an opportunity, but misses to the right just barely. Now we see the third party coming down onto the opponent that Wolf was fighting. Kamsky gets another kill, this time onto infinite accuracy. As you see more action in the kill feed, Wolf just barely goes under there. Would have been a crazy deep shot in the storm to secure. No kills for Wolf yet, but he's looking for his first as Eureka gets a drop onto Frozen NNQ. This game is thinning out rather quickly, actually, as there's 17 people left. SK Majin takes out Diego Contra with the fireball as we see Wolf trying to just cash in on the resources left on the ground. Does upgrade his Frost finally, so that's going to be huge for him as he misses the fireball on the opponent just before he takes the flight away from him. Wolf is rocking that Harmony Scav recovery though, so this is a classic Frostborn build. We know that Harmony can do you a lot of good considering those broken ice trails will stick you up. And Wolf is going to just negate any of that, keeping the Harmony with him and the Scav. Interesting choice as we keep rotating through these fights.
Absolutely, and speaking of rotation, I would imagine that this third rotation is going to be quite dangerous for Wolf as he will need to move quite soon. And now we have Soth just getting into a little engagement on the Tempest here, and really he's just a wind shear from death, and Cam is going to make quick work of that. Easy stuff from him. Going to get a quick little heal up and see if he can find his next target, as he only has one exile, and I'm sure he's going to be looking for more. Next, in a bit of a similar situation, looking to kind of rotate around this mountain. It looks like he is trying to flee a little bit from the Frostborn, but he knows that his hiding spot will not hold up for too much longer, as he does need to reposition quite quickly.
Yeah, it is good to see from Next, though. You know that he has the loot that he wants for his build. This is the classic Frost offhand Toxicologist with Shadow Step, the 2/2/2 as well. So Next is feeling pretty good about his build and his loot as it stands. Nonetheless, Ilya gets a kill onto Dad's Good Word. Good one for him right there as we see Shingy crouching up the side of the hill looking for another engagement. Wants to take it a bit slower, it seems, as we get close to the single-digit mark for the first game of the Element Phoenix Finals. You see It's Your Boy Ross as well on the Frostborn. That is 2 Frostborns, by the way. Just want to take note. Wolf and It's Your Boy Ross both rocking the class, but it looks like one of them might be out here as Wolf is getting pressured down by a Pyro player. The Storm is also doing him no good as he can't quite get the air shot. Recovery will help him as Wolf goes for the crucial pop, but no one spots him out and sneaks one in. He will get third party though, so no one has to try to deal with this issue and deal with it fast. Looks to take a pot, no Thirsty to help him. Does have focus mana for high burst damage, but decides instead to spring step over. Good call as he now looks to Firefly. Gets it off just barely. Jumping over the side, now spring step again used. It's Your Boy Ross kills Blizz in the kill feed with the Frost, and no one is still getting chased. Spring Step going to get burned once again, and he keeps rotating. Way to keep himself spaced away from this opponent. Using Spring Step immediately off the cooldown. Doesn't have Runic Fluency, so you know he doesn't have the cooldown reduction on it. And instead, we're going to bounce around and see as this fight starts to unfold.
Yeah, we're seeing so many players get caught out in the zone right here. It's Your Boy Ross finding himself in a bit of a long-range engagement. Clears out the fire, and now getting interrupted by, I think, 3 different people right there. We see in the kill feed that Trago, unfortunately, either dies to the Fracture or to the zone. I would wager the latter. And now Your Boy Ross finding himself in the middle of some action, looking to get on the outside part of things. He is a little bit low in the health department, and his health is just ticking so fast to 0. That recovery coming in clutch. If he can make it to this mountain, I think he'll be in a much better position. That zone is going to be quite brutal, though.
It is times like this in these competitive lobbies, they play like sharks. The second that they see your HP is on flesh with no armor, all the players will come and try to secure that kill. They know how much it matters to get those little points of scores for exiles and the little bit of damage you get as well. And Ilya now just looking to commit onto a fight. Breaks the armor with the boulder and the firewall combo as his spring step is going to come off cooldown now. Double stacked as well due to Runic Fluency, and Ilya will take a pot. Smart decision from him right here, not playing too fast or aggressive into the final circle. Single digit players left, 9 in total as Eureka's up the side. Schniggy gets a kill with Kamsky on the Toxic as Eureka ZZZ is also jumping his way up the side. Almost gets a little bit of Toxic to connect, no corrosion to do any work because his opponent has no armor as Eureka continues to straddle on the side of the Storm. Getting down to Darkbreakers now, he has 1 kill to his name as he takes an aggressive flight over the side, looking for another engagement. Sees it in front of him, doesn't have any armor to drink, but he has some in his pocket. Stone Shaper is doing him good as he throws out the boulder. Both sorceries going down, but nobody hits it. Darkbreaker's still moving now. Doesn't see the fight straight on, but is going to look for this angle. Fight is off cooldown. You can expect an aggressive run here as he sees somebody on the backside. Darkbreakers does take a quick sec to breathe. Wants to chill in the trees and not maybe engage on this quite yet, OSK. He's taking it slow for sure.
Yeah, he notices that he doesn't have that much armor. Like you mentioned, even though he has that epic belt, it's not going to really do him much good here as he just doesn't have the resource. He is doing a great job of staying on the outside part of this, though. The zone will be converging on his location. If he can land a cheeky boulder or even a little bit of that toxic slap, just like that, he can get a nice exile onto Majin, his teammate, no less. And now we're going to see him just kind of funnel himself into this higher ground. If anyone tries to cross his bridge, he is that troll. He's actually guarding it, and he will go ahead and lay down some quick damage. That Stone Skin from Stone Shaper doing some great work for him, though, as he will keep at least a little bit of armor on him at all times. And now in the middle of an engagement, he will opt to disengage.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention, though, is this is not the greatest circle for a Stone Shaper. There's a lot of hard angles that you have to maneuver around, as Darkbreakers does get one to go onto the opponent running at him. Darkbreakers now trying to get Stone Skin again, hits a Nether to connect, gets the 5 armor of benefit as he flight runes up to the top. KW Cam gets a kill onto next as we see 3 people left in this game. Darkbreaker's now on the edge of the storm using his Stone Shaper passive to get armor where he can. Flight is off cooldown now as he sees how low his opponent is. Schniggy takes the kill onto Cam as it's a 1v1. Darkbreakers versus Schniggy, both players on SK. This is the 1v1 from Team Silent Kill as the sorceries fly. Darkbreakers doesn't get any of them to land as Cam is just waiting patiently at the bottom. Sorry, Schniggy is waiting at the bottom. My apologies. As Darkbreakers looks over the top of the side, doesn't get the shockwave to land. Flies up once again as Schniggy's just trying to take a moment to breathe. Does get a nice slap to go. Darkbreaker's just looking for the end here. This is some beautiful jumping over the bridge to make sure they do not stay on the same plane. Darkbreaker's using his Stone Shaper, but look at the damage from Schniggy. Trading, and they are so low. One more will do it. The sorcery will not connect now as Darkbreakers is just sweating his way down. Oh! He just looks up to the sky and gives him a smack goodbye. That is the end of game 1, and we see Darkbreakers taking it with some aggression.
You know, we were talking a little bit before this event. You were predicting Darkbreakers to be your pocket pick. You switched off. How are you feeling after that last fight, Plays? I think you want that one back.
I deserve it. I was not faithful to Team SK, and I deserve it for my blasphemy. I switched at the last second, and Darkbreakers is showing me why I'm wrong. Nice flick, and way to stay calm under pressure. We mentioned it before the start of the game, but it is a very hard task to stay relaxed in those moments. Darkbreaker just managed to keep his cool and slam that ground to the W, finishing off his own teammate, may I add, to win game 1. OSK, do you think that we're going to see the same type of action, the same type of SK in the final circle in game 2?
You know what? If we do, it'll be a welcome surprise because Darkbreaker is just making absolute surgical precision out of that fight. And if we could see it again, I'd like to break a few things down for you. So look at his opponent. He actually started with full armor, and that's why he picked up the Toxic, because it has that extra corrosion damage. It can melt you down quite quickly. He does not get punished for his little mistake of the dash there, but he is doing such a good job. His opponent also running the stone and the fire offhand, and he knows that he can use that to his advantage. Playing around that rock so smart. Just manages to land all the shockwave, and even if his opponent is running the fire, he can always lay down the Toxic Cloud for a quick dragon fire into another shockwave combo. Easy stuff from him, and he barely lost any health that fight.
I mean, a crucial moment in that engagement too was before the actual replay when we saw Darkbreakers get a second of time to hit the low ground, slam himself up for a bit more armor with the Stone Shaper. I think if he didn't have that extra durability, if he didn't get that second to get some more armor, I think he would have been wiped out by Schniggy. But still, he manages to sneak in a Toxic Slap to win the game right there. We also talked about the first time when we went to his camera angle, we said something about the Toxic on the off end with the stone, a little bit more of an irregular build coming out, but it actually clutched the game right there. The only other comparable gauntlet for that moment would be a fire gauntlet if he could stuff a fireball, but still a beautiful, beautiful play from Darkbreakers to take this game 1. Something that was absent in this game was Team UT. We had talked before, and both of our predictions were from Team UT. Do you think they'll step it up, switch it up, and get themselves back into the running in game 2?
Absolutely. It was unfortunate that both of them went out quite early, but we did see quite a number of kills in the kill feed from Kamsky at least. So he's going to be in a little bit of a better showing. And it is important to note, like you said before game one, that we're only taking the best 4 games. So even if they did poorly this game, yes, it is on their home region. They still have those extra games that they can sort of drop and have themselves built back up. So let's keep that in mind as we go into game two here pretty shortly. Now, I want to just point out that the meta today, like we always talk about conduit and toxicologist, there's still a lot of options you can run, and Darkbreakers was proving that. He is opting for the Stone Shaper. He is a bit of a Stone Shaper one trick, if you will. Always runs the stone with the wind offhand, or even the toxic offhand, like we saw. It's just so amazing that even though we have our frame of mind around conduit and toxicologist Darkbreakers showing that you can make really anything work as long as your playstyle is up for the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that final circle was not the best for a Stone Shaper. I don't think
Yeah.
he would look at that as a Stone Shaper and say, wow, this is awesome. This is going the way I want it to. He made it work. He jumped over bridge to side, made sure that when he was fighting his opponent, who also had a Stone Gauntlet, he was dropping the charge and then jumping off the ledge before the return fire could come in. Great plays, and we are right into game two. The action never stops in the Element Phoenix finals. Looks like a bit of a bot chilling down there in the middle now. Nice job for Zyman, as he actually does not fully finish this one off. In the kill feed, KW Cam gets a kill into Chemical Sciences. Potentially another bot as Zyman is looking to finish this one off, but his opponent takes it away from him. He gets robbed right there as Tfal gets a kill into Ashenfrost in the kill feed, and now we're going to see a bit of a far-spaced 1v1. Something to mention was because Zyman was spamming the bot, he did not actually loot up very much. He has no amulet, he has a common belt, and no rune charge. This is not a great situation as we see player 32, who was the one engaging Zyman. This is his side of the battle now as he gets a blue belt just in time. That is so crucial. Lands a huge fireball as well to the face of the opponent. Player 32 on the streamer mode is looking to finish this kill. Gets blocked off by the tornado. No CC reduction as he looks up the front side, hits 2 fireballs to the face. Ignite's going to take in a nice kill from the streamer mode. I don't want to give him too much credit because he's got his name hidden, but nonetheless, nice flick and gets it before the chrono can do anything. We're going to keep on moving around here through the loading screen as we see Kalnor, TTV, Pyro main, by the way, coming here in this game too.
Absolutely. Pyros are going to be making themselves known in this next game, I would imagine. They get that extra little bit of radius off of Combust, and I would imagine that's going to be doing quite a bit of work, as we saw it seal out quite a few kills. Now, Megaverse over here had 2 early exiles in game 1. I don't know where exactly he ended up with that score, but he was notably absent in the last 10 contestants in that last game. Now he is going to be chasing down his opponent here pretty quickly, already on the full build minus the belt there, but he is rocking the Stone Shaper. Gets sniped for his troubles though. I really hope that that doesn't come to haunt him here, as he is getting chased down quite aggressively.
Yeah, well, Megaverse did land some beautiful air shots to put pressure down, making sure that the person who hit the snipe on him knows that he can retaliate. He does not have a belt though, so he is so low HP in his effective armor. Sees that his opponent is a Tempest, so it's going to be hard for the Stone Shaper to deal with that as he jumps up the front now. Runic Fluency gives him double dash, tries to look for the fireball, but he gets the boulder instead with a beautiful combo. That's almost 60 damage total as he looks for the kill shot. One more is all it's going to take. The flick up doesn't get it. Trying to find this Tempest, the elusive jump from the Wind Gauntlet, and now he's trying to spot him out. Sees that his opponent actually did get some pretty far distance, and Megaverse is going to take this opportunity to drink some HP pots. Sees that his opponent is actually in another fight completely, and we see Kamsky in the kill feed with a kill of his own. Nasty Blizz as well picking one up. So this game actually has quite a bit of tempo coming into it as we see another jump around, and we're going to go find another fight, OSK.
Yeah, going off topic here, a few things to note. Never mind, we're getting right into a fight with Eureka. I'll come back to it. He is going to opt to take just a little bit of cover, but it's not enough from the Combust there. That is some absolutely massive damage as he just misses off the snipe there. The teleport reposition, and he opts to fly away. Excellent decision from him right there. And not really landing any damage of his own, flies straight into the wall. I hope he can get away and have a little bit of a reset for himself, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. He needs to be able to reposition on that higher ground. He does have the advantage here being in the building, but his opponent is just keeping up the pressure, and Eureka is feeling it, having to hide in the corner for his troubles.
Yeah, he's definitely just playing it safe here. He does have quite a bit of scroll, surprisingly enough, for how early it is in the game. So in terms of his loot, maybe it's not as punishing for him to have to hide and not get effective loot for the entire start of this game. He's already got some good stuff on his belt and in his mind from the reading. Gigabyte gets a kill onto Trago, though, so that's a pretty big moment, as the first one will fall for Gigabyte. He was rocking Conduit last game. He did get the kill with Toxic, so I'm not 100% sure if he switched up the classes. But now we see Darkbreaker's the winner of round 1 in a bit of an engagement. Doesn't have his build from last game. He's instead stuck with the Wind offhand. Spring steps forward now, tries to find it through the window, but doesn't quite get it, throwing down a bit of wind damage. Look at how quickly he threw out that boulder as well. I almost didn't see the frame, as he's an experienced Stone Shaper player and he knows how to dump damage and do it quickly.
Absolutely, and we're noticing that he's making great use of his time, and that's the real difference between this game and sort of a public game, is that all of these players know how to utilize their time so efficiently. We know that Darkbreakers has that tech on the boulder fall there to be able to throw it out so quickly. Also, whenever he's separated from a fight, it's never a wasted moment. He is potting up, he's getting his shields back up, he's looking for loot, always keeping his eyes scanning the battlefield. And that level of awareness is what's really going to carry him to the late game, just like it did in game 1. Now we're seeing infinite accuracy, just missing a shot there. Unfortunately, a little bit of irony, and now getting pelted on by these beautiful lightning bolts coming out from his opponent.
Yeah, he's trying desperately to break that line of sight. He might have just barely gotten around that corner. Oh, he gets out of the way of the CC as well. Infinite Accuracy knows he's going to be chased down this edge as Megaverse gets a kill to soften the kill feed. Look at the jukes. Infinite Accuracy actually hiding in the trees to break that line of sight, as we said, and gets away with it a little bit. Now he knows that there's 2 people following. He's probably hoping that they instead turn on each other, but that doesn't look like the case, as Infinite Accuracy sees the opponent jump in through the top now, hiding completely in the rocks, and you are stuck in the wrong corner now. But Infinite Accuracy puts out a lot of damage to push his opponent off of him. Now throwing down the firewall, going to take a Firefly, just barely getting out of the way of the CC once again. 2 close moments for Infinite Accuracy, but it still might not be enough to save his life, as Yovipu is the one chasing him with another. Yovipu off to the side of that fight actually kind of gets a bit of a third-party flick in there, stealing the kill away from somebody else as he's on the Tempest with the Frost. Look at the flick now, jumping right in the face, drops the wind damage. It's not quite enough. Hits a nice snipe through the tornado though. That puts out the pressure. Oh! Oh, Yovipu, take a chill pill as he hits a flick to bang one onto Gigabyte through the hill. Oh my goodness, back to back, and I need a replay.
There it is in the top left corner. You're going to see him space this out so well. He uses the hill for a bit of cover for line of sight, and then he's able to find those angles, the wind shears, to go ahead and get that close range damage. And look at this, through the trees, absolute precision, even through the flight animation. That was absolutely beautiful. And now he's looking to do the same exact thing to this speed demon, although he is getting pressured quite quickly, and this lightning is going to be connecting from downtown all the way through the town. As now we see a third party. This is Yovipu's chance to separate out. If he can break line of sight and then break the action a little bit, he can get that reset off with the big potion, and he's doing exactly what he needs to be doing. That recovery coming in as well as the big potion.
Tempest is one of the most satisfying classes in the game when it's played right, and Yovipu is showing you exactly what it can look like at a top level. Ashenfrost as well, another great Tempest player in this tournament, but wow, that was a snipe, and I still got to take a second to get over it as Next hits one deep onto the opponent moving forward. Next has all legendary loot with not a single kill. He has just been popping off on these chests without any need for dropping bodies. He's got all the best stuff as he looks forward now, tries to get one more snipe on the first opponent. Doesn't connect it though. The blue ice doesn't quite land as Next does take his Vanishing Mist forward, trying to spot out the opponent as Kamsky gets a kill onto Yovipu. Unfortunate for our hero Yovipu. Next tries to hit a shot onto an opponent who already shadow stepped. Tough angle for sure. Doesn't quite get it to go now. Sees that his opponent is in another engagement. Next actually opting for Harmony Scavenger OSK. Maybe you can break down very quickly before this pops off what his thought process is on that one.
Absolutely. So we noticed quite a bit of conduits. He's actually getting into an engagement with that conduit from earlier here. And what he really wants to do is just avoid that stun. It's so crucial that he can avoid that stun and be able to use his rune in a tough situation. Also, the slows coming out from Frostborns are not going to be a problem, as well as a few other things. So it's just to cover his bases. There's also the little bit of damage reduction. While less important, it is still something you can keep in mind there. He actually didn't even need a shadow step that, as he can just go through the slow there. And Kamsky's going to find the kill onto Very Crisp there, our replacement there. And now getting dragon fired upon, just wanting to find himself on the outside part. There you go. Excellent stuff. He doesn't have a hand, but he does have a brain. And now he's going to go ahead and get that big potion open. Look and rotate around this sort of cover here. Find the higher ground. Misses the opponent, rotating right behind him out of the corner of your screen and looking for his next target. Now, in terms of his build, that scavenging, if he can find an exile, he can find a bit of extra health and shield, so excellent stuff on that side of things. And like we said, the Harmony more for convenience.
It's unlucky though right there. You saw how low Next had Kamsky. Kamsky finished that kill onto Crisp, and Next hit 2 back-to-back toxic slaps, but didn't get the kill. Kamsky was down to about 25 HP with recovery helping him on the backside of that. But still, that is so unfortunate for a player of caliber like Kamsky to get a kill and an opportunity and miss on it is unfortunate. Next did not have the fervor to give him the 3rd slap necessary. He didn't miss anything, but it just was the scav that didn't provide him that attack speed necessary. Jumps forward now though with Harmony on him. He just smacks Kamsky. He shuts me up quickly, saying, I don't need that moment, I'll make my own. But now he's getting third party. The Pyro putting down damage. Ignite's going to stick onto Next just a little bit as he jumps through. Shadow Step off cooldown in 4 seconds. Gets behind a tree now, taking a pot, no thirsty to help. Next just waiting and waiting, trying to get another moment to pop off on his opponent. We know that if Next has a flat HP against his opponent, if they're both even in effective HP, the fight is favored for Next. He's just so talented that I have to put it in his favor. Gets the kill right there onto Kamsky, as we said, and he's going to benefit from the loot as well.
Yeah, and we saw the Harmony be used quite effectively there, just diving through the Frost Sorcery, the Flash Freeze, no slows, no freezes, and all the damage from Next. So great stuff on that build. The tanky Toxicologist, as it is coined. And like you said, any engagement's going to be in his favor, not only because of his talent, but also because of his literal talent with the damage reduction. Your boy Ross playing Minecraft for a split second, going to find himself in a bit of an engagement here. The Conflagration's going to be coming in, doing a little bit of extra splash damage there, and your boy Ross opting to disengage from that one, getting his shields all the way back up. We bounce around, maybe we can find a little bit more action. T-Foul a little bit low on the exile count. I would imagine he's looking to make that just a little bit bigger. Gonna rotate off of this higher ground and opt to engage. I think this might be Next, as he's going right in, not being slowed. The Fracture almost claiming another victim, and T-Foul about to be a victim himself to the gameplay of Next here in just a moment.
Oh, but look at him just stay alive. He hits a bunch of air shots and blows up the cloud in front of him to stop the advance. T-Foul with such amazing play on the Pyro to keep this Toxicologist off him just a little bit. I still don't know if he's going to have enough space, but it looks like he might have broken away with this one. Oh, SK, that was some clean work from T-Foul, showing you how to never give up and never admit defeat in those situations. Keep on flicking and keep on going for your shots. T-Foul puts down the pressure to save his own skin. And now we got the Darkbreakers in an engagement as well. Takes a spring step forward, misses the first boulder, but I lied. It connected on the back. 44 damage will go through as Darkbreakers is now hunting. He did not take the toxic offhand. Instead, this game, he's still keeping the wind with him. Bit of a switch up from his game 1 victory build, and now we see him taking some resources, trying to make sure he's nice and drank up for the late game. Throws a couple deep boulders, bounces them forward with the wind, but they're not going to connect onto anybody. Next gets another kill onto Eureka ZZZ, as we saw earlier. So this one is just unfolding for him. He is having a great game 2, as we see some deep range wind. Darkbreakers now looking for more angles. This is the awkward part about building Stone Shaper. For anybody in the chat telling me that Stone Shaper is the most broken class, you have so few options in these moments. And now look at him. He's just getting beamed from distance with no response. And he has to just move forward, takes a pot, and we're going to bounce over to somebody who's more in the center of the action, OSK.
Yeah, it looks like it's his teammate Majin on the conduit there, looking to get away from this immediate source of burst damage here. And T-Foul's going to end up taking him out quite quickly. Excellent recovery from T-Foul. We saw him in that earlier engagement use his superior movement to get out of that engagement. The spring step, the lowest cooldown in the game, making great use of it as he now is able to just circle around, get that scavenging buff. Gonna Firefly first troubles here and get another exile almost, as he just misses his opportunity, opting for the better position rather than the better health and armor off of that. Probably a good decision on his part.
He stopped on a dime to stop the firewall from hitting him, and he hits a beautiful snipe onto It's Your Boy Ross from deep. Now we have a 1v1v1 as T-Fel is off against 2 other players, and look at the positioning. He is free to just shoot from distance, no pressure on him as he blocks the front of that boulder with his cover. Sees that the fight is still unfolding in front of him as T-Fel just wants to keep himself separated. Does get tagged with the side of the Toxic, so Corrosion is going to start to tick onto him. It goes away now as T-Fel looks to make his approach. Does get stuck again with the Corrosion and throws out some retaliation fireballs. Gets a couple to go, but look at Darkbreakers now. And oh my god! Right to the forehead. Scav is going to help T-Fel as well, give him a lot of resources off of that kill. And now he's just getting pushed down by this Toxicologist. The aggression comes out. T-Fel takes way too far back now, and he gets popped! Next just keeps him tracked all the way through that one, pushes him back into the storm, and T-Fel makes one small mechanical error, and Next punishes him for the Game 2 win.
Excellent stuff from Next on his off region, no less. This man is an EU boy invading the NA territory. And look at the number of exiles on him. I would imagine that was about 6 or 7. I didn't quite get the final number, but we'll have it here shortly for you. Excellent stuff. Being able to use his Toxicologist build to pressure. The tanky Toxicologist, not something that we see a lot of, making great use of it as no slows, no stuns, no freezes, and all the damage. Excellent, excellent stuff. Playing the high ground as well, which I really, really love.
And we see the power of Scavenger right there. T-Fel took a very sketchy engagement onto the front side, but managed to secure a kill. He didn't do him enough to win it, though. Next, I believe, also was running Scavenger. So both players in the final circle were rocking that talent. T-Fel does get dropped, even though he benefited from the extra resources on the talent. And I'm just watching the replay off to the side with the buffer, and Next just was some beautiful mechanics right there on Toxicologist to lay down the burst. I honestly did not think he would go in for the kill right there. When I saw T-Fel go backwards into the storm, I didn't think that Next was going to be close enough to finish it right there, but he was just in his face with the last slap to take T-Fel down. No time to think on his side, and we're about to get into Game 3 soon, but I got to catch my breath here, OSK. These games have been quick and chaotic.
Absolutely. And speaking of 3, that actually was the final number of exiles on the Next. He only got 3, but that was a lot of damage, over 1,000 there from what I'm seeing on the score sheet. Now, I want to mention, if we can get a quick replay of it on screen, I'd like to break this down for you. Notice how T-Fel is running the Pyromancer here. He has the extra bit of Ignite, and it's a great heads-up play by Next to wait until the Ignite is done so he can use his Shadow Step for the extra Outbreak. There is a little bit of that buffer of time that he needs to wait for. The Combust does not apply the Ignite, and he's able to get a free little Shadow Step, and that's just a free exile for him. And the nice little snipe at the end as well. He knows that his Toxic Gauntlet isn't going to get the full damage from that far away, so he just opts for a quick snipe. That wasn't a lot of damage. It was very, very quick and able to follow up with the Toxic right after. So excellent stuff from him. Good awareness on the Ignite timer and able to make great use of his Outbreak and the rest of his class. So good stuff.
Something I love right there is right when that kill came down, the chat just exploded with EU, EU, EU. I love the inherent rivalry that we have in the scene. Always NA versus EU, a little bit in the background there. And Next making his boys proud right there with a nice flick to take the win onto T-Fel. We are right into Game 3. The action does not stop here, OSK, as we see Thorox in a fight early. Oh, he actually was finishing a kill onto a bot, it looks like. Cardinal Synacope goes down, and Thorox is just going to benefit from looting here.
Man, I don't know what a Synacope even is, but Thorox saying, I don't need to know. I just know his health bar, and now it's 0. Trago also getting a kill onto Real Estate Shake and Bake 99. That's not a bot, but it's a great name. And now Megaverse finding himself a nice little rare belt there, getting the 60 armor plus his 20 from the Stone Skin ability. He's looking quite beefy as now he's looking to engage in any way that he can. His opponent just fleeing him for the moment, so not really going to find anything out of it immediately. Now, I do want to mention, we're seeing a lot of these EU people come off on the NA servers. We saw Next there with the 3 exiles taking that second game, and he takes another one there in the kill feed there to your top left, and I can only imagine what's going to happen when we finally get on our home servers for EU. I would imagine that this is going to open up quite quickly as Gigabyte opens up infinite accuracy with some beautiful lightning bolts.
Yeah, Gigabyte just dealing the damage right there. Look at the all-purple gauntlets and the purple flight. He's off to a nice start for the loot right there, getting a quick secure onto the front side of that fight. Now we see Next, though, in a bit of trouble. The winner of Game 2 gets into an engagement, takes so much damage Look at that work from Darkbreakers, just bursting him with the focused Mana Stone Shaper. Oh my goodness, watching that from the other side, watching that from the recipient's angle, that was just overwhelming amount of damage coming from Darkbreakers.
Absolutely, and you could see briefly in the top right of your screen on the mini map that they weren't actually in the first zone yet. So that could mean that Nex maybe didn't have his Vanishing Mist ability up yet. He doesn't have that extra movement that he needs. All he has is a bit of sticky puddles, and Darkbreaker's making absolute great use of that, able to use his extra armor and the extra damage off the Stone Gauntlet there. Just knows that he's more powerful in the early game and able to take that fight very, very quickly. So great awareness from Darkbreakers if that was the plan. And now we see Moktola just opting to not engage just yet. He has a big belt that he needs to fill all the way up. And let's see if he can find himself in a nice little engagement. Gonna opt to flee away. Maybe we switch around and get some more action. Thorax, though, in the kill feed there, making great use of the early game there. He actually fell quite early in both of his first 2 games. So maybe opting to get a little bit more aggressive, maybe get some safer engagements. And I'd love to see his name up a little bit higher, as he did win qualifier number 3.
Yeah, definitely a nice moment for him as we see the rest of this action. Very crisp, throwing down the firewall. He's rocking the conduit, and something we talked about in the pre-broadcast was we were expecting a lot of conduit today. But look at Chris, it seems like one of the only ones running it. Gigabyte as well, we saw earlier in the game, and I believe Majin was on conduit too, but that is a small margin for what I was expecting. Feels like a very strong class, but these players are opting more for the Toxicologist. We see Poppy Eternal with the kill on the kill feed, as now Crisp is just getting jumped on. Gets his way out really quickly. He has Recklessness too, which is an interesting choice, but it might not save his life, as it looks like he's just getting destroyed from all angles. Wolf with a nice snipe over the top, rocking the Frostborn, so you know he has maybe a second in the air with the Icicle ability, as he gets away on Frozen Alacrity as well. Megaverse with a kill onto Diego Contra. Unfortunately for Diego, he's having a rough start to the event today. Megaverse with a double kill though. The second one is going to drop onto Moktola. The kill feed just giving us a little bit of critical information as to how this game is unfolding. Wolf though has 3 kills, OSK. We have not even rotated into second stage final circle, and he has 3 kills already.
Yeah, we're gonna opt to switch angles there, as Wolf definitely making great use of that class. Not something that you would expect to see in a solo environment, but just proving to us that anything can work in the right hands, and that Frost is deadly whenever you have an accurate shooter. Now we're going to keep bouncing around here, see if we can find any sort of action. Ashen Frost, to quote on the Frost, also using it offhand. A nice little Tempest user there, but not opting to really engage in any fights just quite yet. Your boy Ross, another Frostborn, makes a nice shot there, and in the middle of a fight, let's see if he can finish it out quite quickly. Misses the second.
Yeah, that was a nice shot, though, to put a bunch of pressure onto his opponent. Frostborn, you need to hit those or you will get pushed. The class does not benefit from a close-range engagement, so if you miss your opening shot, you get pushed aggressively. Misses the flick, though. It's your boy Ross does have a good position here. He's kind of hanging on the back. Nice spot for a Frostborn to be as he looks for a kill shot off the side, takes the spring step, now sees his opponent's looking to pot, and he's trying to assassinate. Double air shots there as 34s will land. It's your boy Ross now rotating, doesn't get tagged by the DF, but sees where they are. Does get another angle at the fight now, misses pretty badly off the far side, and now he's gonna get another chance, but he does see the firewall to break that line of sight. And now Frozen NNQ getting a kill onto Trago, Bastion getting a kill as well, as there's only 19 people left. This is the fastest game of the 3 we've watched so far. It's your boy Ross just chilling out on the side here, gonna wait for the people to come to him. Sees that there's only about 30 seconds until the storm starts closing again, so he knows he has the advantage. A 58 over the hill will connect as It's your boy Ross again looking for a new angle into this fight.
Absolutely. In these next few zones that he's going to be rotating in, I would imagine that this is level 3 that he's going to be getting off of this next zone. So not quite the Ice Prism that we'd like to see with the 35%. Needs to wait just a little bit longer for that one. And that's the trade-off for getting Frostborn. You do get that extra bit of damage late, as opposed to Pyromancer getting the early damage with the Ignite. And now Thorax saying, I don't care what time it is, I'm going to lightning this man down. And T-Foul is going to go down actually quite easily. That legendary fire doing some work.
Yeah, nice little bit of work right there from Thorax. As you said, gets his 5th kill. Scavenger hitting him with some nice resources as well when he lands it. And now Eternal looking at the side. He does not want to join into any fights. He's just chilling right now as we see more and more rotations. Kalnar TTV now looting up, has some good stuff, but not enough scrolls on his belt. He is going to look in front. Nothing to read up here as we still keep on bouncing. 18 people in the game, and we might be hitting a bit of a lull. Maj and another person deciding to rock the conduit, and he's coming out, throws down the sorcery, but nobody's there, just using it to maybe get an extra rune charge in the pocket as Kamsky gets a kill into Zymet. We keep on bouncing around as there's no long-term engagement we've caught so far, but Kamsky was one who just finished a kill. That's going to be his first of game 3 as he sees somebody take some shots at him. Gets a nice shadow step over the top, does get the line of sight to break a fireball coming his way. Kamsky now on the conduit today as he throws down his lightning bolts, doesn't get any to land though. Gets a collision with 2 fireballs, slides off to the side. Look at how many shadow steps he has in his pocket. The benefit of conduit as you see the flick timing to get out of the way of his opponent's fireballs. Beautiful mechanics from Kamsky coming through.
Absolutely. Maybe looking to keep his resources up a little bit longer than what he's used to. He doesn't have any armor potions, or armor shards rather, in his inventory, so looking to play it just a little bit safer. If he can seal out a nice little exile, then maybe his opponent will have some for him. But until that happens, gonna opt to stay on the outside, playing it a little bit safer, as maybe the aggressive approach wasn't quite working out too well for him. We see him switch off the class onto Conduit instead of the Toxicologist, what he's known for. And that might just be a testament to how much higher of a caliber this lobby is as opposed to qualifier itself. The finals are so much harder than a qualifier. You think that a qualifier is stacked? Just imagine when we get the best 25 or 30 players off of those qualifiers and put them into a single lobby. It's quite the challenge.
Yeah, Gigabyte is in such an optimal position here. Third party is so ready for him here as he has flight double stacked. Gets over now, sees the opponent's beautiful skin run through the bottom, doesn't get any damage yet, just waiting for his moment. Oh no, none of those will land, but the 15s, you see them now. Gigabyte gets a couple to go. This is such a third party for him to get and capitalize on. Beautiful positioning from him as he flight runes up his front side. Needs to secure this kill. Nice! Hits that and it should secure the kill, but Ignite, oh my goodness, somehow his opponent gets a full charge of HP and armor as he runs over the side, and maybe a secondary player as Gigabyte doesn't finish the first kill onto the person who was so low. And now Gigabyte following off on the second, gets the drop onto It's Your Boy Ross with the lightning bolts. So it looks like somebody actually took that kill. It's Your Boy Ross secured it from Gigabyte. It was onto Frozen NNQ. He stole it at the last second before the Ignite tick would have secured the kill for Gigabyte, and then Gigabyte killed him for doing him dirty on the steal.
Absolutely, and you would have thought that fire puddle early on would have ignited that opponent to 0. Maybe he found a last-second exile with a scavenging talent to get a little bit of extra recovery there, but nonetheless does seal out 1, so that's very good. And with the flight, no less, this is a little bit of a different build than what we're used to seeing. Ilya even rocking the teleport there, so interesting builds. Interesting builds to say the least. Usually you see the dash and the shadow step, just like we're seeing onto Ashen Frost here. Rocking the 1 exile, maybe looking to make it just a little bit of a bigger number there. Thorax, though, having the game of his life, the winner of qualifier number 3, looking to make his name known, as the early game will not be his menace today, and he's looking to make it possibly into an 8 or 9 bomb, maybe even double digits.
Yeah, if he gets a double-digit bomb in this game this early in the event, it would be quite great for him. It's only been the 3rd game, so he has more opportunities to keep popping off and carry the momentum from a high kill round. Poppy Eternal, though, off the side, and we're not going to stick on him too long as we keep on bouncing. Megaverse also has 5 kills on his wrist, so both of those 2 players have been doing high damage in these games. We might be watching Majin's death here as he just barely gets through the storm with that dash. Will it be enough? Oh! Half a millisecond will separate Majin from life or death. He ends up taking the death and going down to the storm right there. 12 people left as Gigabyte spots yet another opponent, just using that little bit of extra mobility and extra POV to get around the side of the wall and see where he's at, though. Sees that it's a Tempest, using his lightning with the huge damage. You see the benefit of Conduit there, and just look at all of that. 10s, 10s, 10s. Gigabyte now trying to secure this kill, getting around the side. Flight is off cooldown, so he will be able to close the gap. Gets up now, doesn't decide to use it quite yet. Surprised he hasn't used his rune at all, as he's just watching the Tempest get around the side. Maybe Gigabyte knows that he just needs more damage score and wants to farm it up before he exiles. He has flight on double stack. He could have definitely got up in that guy's face with Fire Gauntlet, but instead he's being patient. hits those 14s and gets the kill onto Thorok for secure. And now it looks like he's in another little 1v1 situation, flies his way out. And this is the advantage of keeping your runes in the pocket. He proves me wrong and instead still secures the kill and has the runes to get himself out.
Well, that was the thing there. You know that he's using his runes and saving them for a rainy day, for emergencies. He knows that creating the space there will actually work to his advantage. Now look at this. This is... Oh no, his opponent doesn't read the scroll. I was going to say that's a nice strategy of mine that I like to use, is once they read the scroll, they are locked in that position and it's a free snipe. But Bastion, realizing that the opponents are a little bit smarter than that today and they're not going to just give him a little bit of free damage. Now going back to Gigabyte, he knows that the separation there is actually really, really good for his class, for the lightning damage. So he knows that he doesn't have to close the distance with flight. So that's just a good heads up play from him. And with the double flight stacked, he can just use it for a rainy day, as he did in the earlier engagement. Ilya not really getting much done here. He does get a little bit of free damage onto his opponent, but he's not going to find anything meaningful out of it unless you're just looking for a damage score. Would like to go ahead and let you know that Gigabyte actually did find a kill onto no one, and maybe looking to find another one onto Ilya, as I do believe that is him on the right side. And Kamsky gonna seal it out.
This fight is about to unfold. 7 people left, and look at the circle. It's shrinking continuously now as we see this one break down. Ilya shooting over the top with the shockwave, gets one to go. Wind is not going to do much damage from deep, but he is getting an opportunity when people hit the ground. Right on time there as Ashenfrost gets smoked by Ilya's shockwave. 5 people left. That's the second kill for Ilya, using his sorceries in tandem to try to pull somebody in. No armor on his belt or resources. He does not have the ability to drink pots and get more armor. And now he's just trading openly with a pyro player. Nice spring step, but still keeps his high ground. Almost gets the boulder, but his opponent predicts the move and jumps out of the way at the last second. Look at Ilya now, just going for this one. He's holding on to one side of the ridge, trying to keep position and make sure nobody can get onto his side. Throws down another sorcery combo, and this time he pulls the boulder with the tornado into his opponent. Still takes damage here as he doesn't get out of the way just in time. Loses his position on the high ground. Now he's got to take a retake. Gets over the front and he connects onto Megaverse. Stone Shaper versus Stone Shaper action as Ilya now just gets hit with the sorceries, and look at the damage from deep. Ilya spring stepping over the top, but that's going to be the win for Kamsky. Kamsky actually assassinated the player on the other side of the fight. After Ilya finished Megaverse, it was a quick 1v1, but it was not enough. Kamsky taking game 3. That's his first win of the day, and it looked convincing.
Absolutely. And we noticed that the shift in the strategy there really, really paid off for Kamsky. He was running the Toxicologist early on in those first 2 games, switches to the Conduit for some more reliable damage, and he even takes out the win. So excellent stuff for him. And I would imagine his exile count's quite high. I'm getting confirmation that he did have a 6 bomb that game with almost 2,000 damage. So that's definitely going to be one of his 4 that he's going to take with him. And I just want to give commendations to Ilya. He played that perfectly, and I don't think I've ever seen someone use the tornado curve on the boulder in an actual tournament and get anything out of it. So that's just some great innovation. I know we've been seeing it on the subreddit just a little bit, but I'm glad that it's making its way out here in the Element events. And he was doing an excellent job on staying on the outside part of that fight, staying on his one particular platform, really holding it down. It's unfortunate for him that he didn't have any sort of recovery option other than the health potions in his inventory. There was no scavenging on his talent selection, so he did have to play that just a little bit safer. Maybe if he switches over to the scavenging, he can find a little bit more value out of it. But either way, it looked like it worked out quite well for him, as I would imagine that his damage score is quite high off of that last engagement.
Yeah, well, Kamsky also did a great job there of just flushing Ilya out of his spot. He saw that Ilya had been holding that high ground. He was doing a great job of contesting kills on the top of the ledge. But Kamsky just checked his DPS, saw that Ilya was slightly low, dropped enough of that AoE control to hold the area, forced Lilia up in the sky, and popped them down for the end right there on game 3. We do have a halftime break. We need a break. The players need a break. Everybody needs to take just 10 minutes here. Keep in mind, though, all subscriptions and donations go towards fueling these prize pools 100%. We thank everybody for being here and supporting us, not just through money, but just through your presence. It's been a blast, and we're going to keep this one going. Enjoy the halftime. We will be back with the final 3 games on EU. This is going to decide who takes the money, so I hope you guys stick around. Thanks again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the break. I hope you guys enjoyed those montages, giving yourself a little second to breathe after those 3 games of constant chaos. To recap, we got Kamsky in first place, Ilya in second place, and actually Cam Sucks is in third place. Or sorry, Cam Sucks is in second, and Ilya is in third. I switched up the names right there because I'm so surprised by it. That's why. Cam Sucks came through with some clutch placements in those games, and he's actually been showing up here, OSK. You want to break that down for me?
Absolutely. He got third place, sixth place, then fourth place. So maybe a little bit under the radar from what we can spectate, but he's been really showing up and getting those placements. It's good stuff. And I do want to reiterate here that second place through to about seventh place, there's not that much separation. I think seventh place is right now at 530 points, second at 556, and that can be closed up in literally half a game. So it's not like this big gap. There's still a lot of fighting to be had. Kamsky, though, very, very comfortable lead with almost 300 points ahead of everybody, which after his first 2 games, I honestly wasn't expecting, but he is keeping that damage score up, which isn't something that we can see immediately on our actual screens. So great stuff to him for keeping it up. And he has 3 more games to get those best 4 games out of 6. And that's something very important to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. He had some great games to come out here. Also, for anybody in the chat, if you want to see what we're seeing when we talk about these scores, hit ! scores in the chat and you can check out everything and see where we're all at. Follow your favorite breakers as we get into the last 3 games here. Remember, the last 3 will be played on EU. I think we say that about 100 times every broadcast, but it is important to note these players really do have to change their approaches when you start getting into higher or lower latency. You go from maybe a conduit to a pyro or reverse, depending on which region you're playing through to. But as you said, OSK, there is a couple throwaway games. Only 4 of your highest scored games count. So anybody can still take this money. Anybody can still have a chance at winning this event as we get into the second half, the back end of this. Do you have any predictions for the second parts, for the last 3 games?
I would expect Kamsky to go ahead and just coast on through the EU servers. It's not like he has to do remarkably well to go ahead and seal out his first place finish. Although I would expect Next to really start showing up on EU. I was very, very surprised in the second game that we saw that he actually came out with the win on his off region. That's not something that we saw in qualifier. In fact, Next came in as 25th place out of the 30 that we came in. So he had a very bad showing for his qualifier, but still just enough to make it through. Now he's showing up, and I would imagine it's going to be a very big showing on his EU.
You know, I don't want to say anything here, OSK, but we made predictions at the start. Your guy T-Fal's in 12th, and I think my bet might be still be sitting first. So I'm not trying to say anything here. No. Just wanted to remind everybody where we're at in terms of the predictions here. But on a more serious note, T-Fal is in 12th place, and I do expect him to step it up. We see him in these events come through. He has the it factor that we've talked about just a little bit before about being able to pop off in any game. I think T-Fal has what it takes to pull himself back into the contention for some money. Remember that first place takes home $100 USD, second place takes home 60, and third place takes home 40. A lot of money to go around and still a lot of kills to be had, or should I say exiles, my apologies, as we get into these final matches. Some good predictions, though, from you. I got to respect those calls. I wanted to mention the fact that Ilya has been playing out of his mind into these matches. Stone Shaper is one of those classes that you can kind of mold into your environment. You just have to hope that the final circle does benefit you. But we see this 4th game starting right now as we get into Ilya. Just as we talk about him, he's the first one on cam.
Absolutely. The caster curse is real, and that's more of a blessing on his part. We're seeing some early loot from him, and Thorox Maktola are going to make themselves known very early on. No one in the tournament has been exiled quite yet, but some nice extra exiles coming in early on. So we're going to keep rotating around, see if we can get in the middle of the action that's going on. The Lost Angel, not a part of our tournament, but opting to read just a little bit. And Siege Champ might just find himself on the wrong end of a ice lance. If I can get my words out, he might find himself on the wrong end of one.
Yeah, it looks like Thorox as well looting up. He may have gotten into a bit of engagement due to his armor being chunked. I'm not sure exactly how that one turned out, but Maktola starting off with 2 kills already. Kamsky in the kill feed with a drop onto Blizz, and we see Yovipu with some loot. Crazy snipe coming from Yovi in the previous game. We saw him go off on the Tempest. He's back on it now as we see next on Conduit, actually. back on his home turf in EU, excuse me, switches to the conduit. I'm so surprised by the choice that my throat is tearing me up right now. And next already has all blue loot as well. The one thing is the common lightning is not doing him any favors. Tfal does go down onto a drop on Zyment, finishing the kill for his first of game 4. 32 people left, and he has the common spring step. Huge snipe coming on from deep. Now Tfal has to try to peel out of this one, uses both rune charges. He is exposed in the middle of the sky, but the shot will not connect. He actually gets away with that one as Gigabyte gets a kill into infinite accuracy in the kill feed, and we see more and more of this unfolding. Tfal does have some space to get a pot off now. He has a bit of time, but this common spring step is not helping him out either. Mobility is going to be low when it comes to the rune charges. You see him at the top of the hill, totally holding this high ground and making sure that nobody can contest him. Sees his opponent now, takes the spring step, does not get hit by that first frost shot, but he still pushes, throws down both sorceries, but no damage will land. Look at the lightning, 14s and 12s all over as Tfal just paints this guy with massive bolts. Keeps on moving forward now. Cooldowns are going to be up in terms of runes. Tfal makes that hard approach. Sorceries are off cooldown as well. He can go for something here. It's more and more bolts. Look at the tracking on the conduit. This is what makes the class so difficult to deal with. Tfal putting on a master showing on how to finish off a kill with the conduit, and as I say that, his opponent shadow steps into the distance and Tfal decides not to engage. Any thoughts on that choice by Tfal not to push the kill, OSK? It seemed so guaranteed.
Man, the only thing I can think is that maybe he's saving his meal for later for an extra bit of damage score, but Trago coming out here, landing the frost on his off region, no less, and now looking to approach here. He does have the Vanishing Mist coming off a cooldown in just a second. Maybe he's looking to use it. No outbreak quite yet. It's a little bit too early for that, but the reposition going to come out, and he's also opting to save his meal for later, as I believe he just lost him.
Yeah, he does get away with it now. We see Schniggy, who had a rough game 3, started off hot in game 1. Let's see if he can bring it back and keep it consistent as we moved over to EU. Megaverse gets a kill onto a very long username, and next also finishing one off with the Lightning. So more conduit on the EU side of things as we finish off these last 3 games. Moktola getting his 3rd kill here as well, this time onto Cam Sucks. So that's going to be a drop for him, who was in 2nd place. Cam Sucks, I still have a lot of hope for him coming into these final games. Remember that you have 2 games to throw away, so Cam Sucks is still going to feel comfortable. He's had really good matches up until this game 4. He should still be in a good position to take some money home if he can clutch it. Ilya gets a kill onto Ashen, apologies, with the Frost. And we see Gigabyte still on the conduit. The regions do not affect Gigabyte's choice of class. He sticks on conduit for all 6. As we see Frozen NNQ, somebody we haven't talked about much today, OSK, but he had a fantastic qualifier before, and I think he's a top player.
Absolutely, and he's opting to run the Runic Fluency with conduit, so a lot of charges going on to that teleport that he had there, and a bit of a newer player, as you were mentioning there. We do have some released players in here, so it's great to see that we do have some newer players getting in on the action and finding themselves on the better end of an Exile. Wolf finding himself on the better end of Ilya there, as now he looks for his next target, just lining up that frost shot, opting to disengage though. That lightning is hitting him quite hard.
Yeah, he's got the Fire Frost combo right now, but he's going to opt to Alacrity himself out of this one. Gets a nice finish onto Ilya, but doesn't want to overextend too much. You did see that he's running the scavenging, so he gets a little bit of extra resources on that kill that he finishes. But Wolf actually sees his opponent get third-partied by somebody else. A nice blessing for him as he might be able to reposition and actually take some more damage onto his opponent. Firewall will block the first initial shot, but now he's re-aiming, looking for it, hits a 66, almost breaking armor. Sees his opponent must have an epic belt and looks for one more take, but Wolf doesn't quite connect. Now he's going to back up, does still have 2 armor pots to drink, a dash rune to keep him moving, and Alacrity to help with the whole process. Gets smoked from the front though with a big frost shot down to almost no armor. Gets a beautiful back-to-back to 3 times 4 fireballs, and that's going to be the kill. Thoros gets sat down by Wolf with that offhand fire. Ladies and gentlemen, offhand fire. That is not a pyro with extra AoE. Those were air shots. Wolf finishes the kill, and now we see Diego with a kill in the kill feed as well, as Wolf gets away with this.
That's right, 5 direct hits, 5 for 5 on his accuracy today, rocking that 100%, and he just makes an absolute mincemeat of his opponent there and burns him to a crisp. Now we see the Chronomaster come out, and this is why it is so dangerous to be running. You know that his opponent can go ahead and just lay down a little bit of AoE, a little bit of damage over time whenever he comes back to that position, and now Bastion actually canceling out the frost shot with his fireball, but he needs to be careful that his life doesn't get canceled out as Kuno takes the exile.
Yeah, Kuno is rocking that new Chrono Master rune as well. Hasn't dropped the charge yet, but gets 2 back-to-back huge flicks onto his opponent. And look at how he's using that Chrono to just push aggressively with no worries. Does get pulled back with that Back to the Future rune, as now he's looking for one more angle. Doesn't get the shot that was open. Remember, Chrono does not provide you any mobility in the rune slot, so you can see him just try to struggle to get back up in front of his opponent. Doesn't use much alacrity to get him there, but look at his opponent just pushing into him. It was no one, showing no fear, taking down K1 Uno, as we see K1 Kuno, sorry, as no one now just backing off to the side of the hill. Looks for another angle, but he is at such a low ground disadvantage, and the conduit can just pelt him down from the high angle. No one just taking so much damage and getting punished for this positioning mistake.
Yeah, no one is praying for some kind of break in the line of sight. Maybe his opponent got engaged by a third party. It's very difficult to know right now, but he looks like he is a little bit safe, and he will go ahead and opt for the reset. It looks like his opponent did get third-partied by Wolf there. He's not completely exiled, but Wolf is laying down the pressure. Now we see the conduit go in. Maybe he found no one. Maybe they're re-engaging, but we do see the heals come out. I bet he got punished quite hard. Now approaching with the Frozen Alacrity, Wolf will be looking to get to a higher position so we can lay down all of these beautiful ice lances we know him for, but actually opting to rotate around towards the inside part of the zone, maybe up the mountain so we can lay down some new targets.
Yeah, you see that he already does have the legendary Frost, though. We also know that as Frostborn scales up, you get that damage modifier on the final circle, so he has a chance to just do a huge amount of damage with one shot if he can get off the angle. Moktola as well, looking for an angle of his own, throwing down some lightning, but only getting small ticks of damage. Still consistent, though, so it's nice to see that as he throws fireballs into the middle of the building. Wolf's Blood is actually the rune on his belt. I'm not a huge fan of that one, because I don't think it's going to benefit you much in these environments. Look at Yovipu now, though, getting pressured on that Tempest. Does not have much of a shot here, but still takes it. Not quite going to connect, as Yovipu is down to just 20 HP. Recovery with 3 points is going to help him quite a bit with sustaining. And look at the movement, making sure he's keeping that line of sight broken from the conduit. Does get around the back now, but he is being tracked. It is Frozen NNQ, who looks like he just bounced in on that. That was a different player, I believe. Yovipu was fighting somebody else in the building. Frozen got a different angle, finished the kill, and now he might get third party by the original fight.
Yeah, an excellent choice to drop down the flash freeze. It does block the lightning for a short time. Now his build here, it's pure long range. So I'm not sure if he's going to have the tools to separate himself. It looks like he is rocking the triple teleport there. So maybe he will actually have the tools. He can't play anything up close though. Once that final zone comes in, he will need to play it very, very smart or even switch off of his frost, because it is just so dangerous to pick these fights with all the toxicologists and the pyromancers. They have such great burst damage in himself, unless he's at long range looking to rock the sustain instead.
Yeah, Conduit just gives you that option to completely peel out of a fight if you got that teleport rune like we see with Frozen, and he was able to just move completely away from that danger. He is looking for this fight now with the S key, trying to get some damage, only gets one lightning bolt for 16 to connect. Still moving now though, teleport is off cooldown. We see it once again showcasing how far you can go with that Conduit. Getting over the side now, throwing down his sorcery, doesn't actually land much damage and is a bit rattled on where to find these opponents. It looks like shots are just coming at him, but he can't quite place where they are. Now he's seeing more action in front of him. The rune is off cooldown, looks for the angle, just barely misses the frost knife as he's using this cover to stop the incoming lightning bolt. Does take the CC into a fireball, into another strike of the lightning, and Frozen NNQ was getting bursted. Takes a quick teleport, double stacks that, make that 2, and he's out of here. Gets into another angle from another lightning gauntlet, and OSK, this is like Mission Impossible. You dodge one of these lasers and you get caught in another one. Frozen NNQ now just has 2 seconds on teleport to come off cooldown. Might be able to get away with this one, but it looks like the pressure is just too much.
Indeed, the pressure is building quite nicely, and you see to his left-hand side that there was another target, and here's another player on his right. And this is the danger of using teleport. If you teleport in the wrong spot, you will go ahead and get bursted down by no one, as he does end up picking the exile. And teleport with such a long cooldown, if you make a single mistake, it is quite terrible. And then Megaverse just coming in with all of the damage, all of the exile, and getting damaged himself as he tries to kite his way out on the higher ground, rotate towards the tower, and try to get to any kind of safety he can find, but it is going to be difficult.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation for Megaverse. You saw him finish off that kill, but got third-partied immediately. Ate a boulder to the shins. Isn't enough to kill him, but it is enough to threaten him. Throws down some beautiful work now, but he is seeing a boulder come in. Dodges out of the way. Next gets a kill onto T-Fel. That's huge for how this game is going to play out. Majin also kills himself as Megaverse now just trying to get a slam, but it gets caught on the side of the rock wall. That is appropriate. I really was hoping that that wouldn't connect for damage because that would be a bit crazy on the stone pathing. Megaverse does not get away with it and will not get the kill either. Next gets another drop though, this time onto Moktola, as we see Nasty Schniggy running up the front side with that legendary flight. Going to be quite a low cooldown, I believe about 8 seconds on that as he takes off the side. Harmony going to stop him from CC as he jumps in. Doesn't get hit by the fireball. Sees that his opponent is rocking Chrono, so that's a very interesting choice to keep an eye out for as we get into the final fights here, OSK.
Well, I can tell you now, Chronomaster is one of those runes that as the zone gets smaller and smaller, the value actually goes up just a little bit. You don't need as much movement, and also with everyone trying to focus you down in that final circle, you can just recover it all the way back with its beautiful use of utility. Now, the only thing that you have to watch out for is your positioning, because everyone's going to know when you activate it. So he has to be a little bit careful. But Gigabyte opting to just take the high ground here, I would imagine he doesn't want to engage all the way in. Sees an opponent on the left-hand side, he will be going ahead and just relaxing here. Kamsky with the Pyromancer Chrono. We have found the target, but he's going to be teleported just outside the zone again. That's a long way to cover, and that's a lot of damage he'll be ticking off. Oh no, that might have actually just sealed out his fate, but he is still alive, so he can still make a little bit of use off of this. Is rocking the runic fluency, so we will have double charges into Chronomaster here in about 5 seconds, and this is exactly how I would imagine it would be used. Oh, he doesn't wait though. He doesn't wait for the full charge, and Gigabyte saying, you have no time anyway. I will go ahead and take the exile before I get exiled myself by Megaverse.
Yeah, Megaverse just dunks him on the third party. That is his 5th kill with 3 people left. Here you go. You see it unfolding in front of you. Steals the kill right from out and under him.
Beautiful.
And that is just some domination right there. Stone Shaper getting the angle and smashing both players in such a short time frame to take game 4. Megaverse, look at that damage, OSK.
Absolutely, and I think we're seeing the awkward moment when my pocket pick becomes my main pick as he just absolutely dominates that final zone. That's 3 kills. That's a triple kill in the final moments there, and I'd love to see that again because I am conceited and I like to see my picks do well, as we're going to see him come up right here. This is 30 seconds of pure domination from Megaverse. Gigabyte finding himself on the wrong end of that engagement, and now it's just easy pickings as he is the third party in this situation. His opponents are low, and he just needs one shockwave, one boulder into another shockwave. Excellent stuff. Great positioning, first off, and great awareness to know that he is in an advantageous position.
I mean, something to note there for anybody who doesn't have much experience on the Stone Shaper, he actually weaved in a fireball with the cast of the boulder fall. So he threw the boulder, threw the fireball, then slammed the ground for a combo of about 74 damage. That is an absurd amount of burst to be throwing around in Spellbreak, and that is a great tip for anybody who may be trying out Stone Shaper in the coming days, anybody inspired by Megaverse to try the class out after that Game 4 performance. But OSK, we got to get back to the show. There's only 2 games left in the Element Phoenix finals, and we have so much action to still unpack. Any predictions going into these last 2 games? Any last thoughts before we see the conclusion of this action?
I can tell you, Kamsky is still sneaking his way up, so I think your pick is still going to be pretty safe going into first place on the final sort of engagements here and the final score. I do want to see some more out of Next on his home region, though. He has 2 more games to make himself known here, and I would imagine he's going to be placing very high, but he needs to play just a little bit more carefully. I think he was a little bit overconfident, actually ended up getting out quite early. So that's something to keep in mind there. And Megaverse, I don't really have a prediction for Megaverse. He's actually defying my expectations. So maybe he'll go ahead and just take this entire thing with his 4 best games that we still have to keep in mind. He already has 2 really, really good games, and I'll just imagine he's going to do more of the same. Another name to look out for, I guess, would be Ilya, since this, well, he's actually an NA player, but he's still doing pretty well. So keep an eye on him as well. He might be included in the prize pool here at the end of the day.
Yeah, something to note as well. You're talking about, is he going to be confident as we get into these last games? OSK, he hit a quick little bag after securing the final dub there. I think his confidence is definitely maxing out after a performance like that. When you see the quick crouch animations after a dub, you know they're feeling it. So we're going to see if he can carry that over to the final games. Again, we got 2 more to wrap this one up. A lot of Conduit coming out now on EU. Such a change, really. From NA, we saw all sorts of players like Kamsky next rocking Toxicologist. And now we've seen a full switch over to the Conduit meta. I see Lightning on almost every player in that final circle. I think that's something that's going to continue for these last 2 games for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You do get that extra little bit of utility with overload skill, a little bit of extra rune charge in your pocket. It does make some strategies that you wouldn't want to run on other classes just a little bit more viable, like Chronomaster, like Flight, as we're seeing Gigabyte bring out. And also, another thing that I saw on Gigabyte at one point was the Focus Mana build. And that's something that you can pair with the skill Power Surge to eliminate the use of mana from your spells and just get so much damage out of it for 4 seconds. And that's just absolutely crazy when paired with potential energy. You're going to be seeing quite a bit of damage come out. And maybe that's something they're going to be relying on as with the higher ping, it's a lot harder to land your mechanically oriented skills, your mechanically oriented spells and sorceries. So that might be part of it. Maybe they feel more confident in the rapid fire nature of Lightning. And with that build in particular, you can still pump out quite a bit of damage while staying relatively safe yourself.
I mean, one thing I want to mention about Conduit, because I think it is the most overlooked strength of the class, is that one of the final unlocked skills for Conduit lets your lightning strike 4 times, 4 total lightning strikes out of 1 sorcery cast. If you think about that in the context of these competitive final circles, that is area control of a significant portion of the map in the clutch moments where you need it most. I think that is such an underrated aspect of Conduit. Everyone talks about the focus mana, about being able to pair that with some of the other talents, but I do think that this AoE control is one of the greatest parts of final circle Conduit.
Plays, I have to tell you, it's not 3, it's not 4, it's 4 additional. So it's actually 5 coming out, a total of 100 damage potentially if you're positioned poorly. So as great as you think it is, it's just even better. I just want to make you aware of that it's actually insane.
I appreciate you strengthening my point even further. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a co-caster right there, having my back through everything.
Absolutely,
and we're going to wait
sir.
for these last 2 games now. I'm expecting more Conduit, as we discussed, less Toxicologist, and Stone Shaper making a huge debut. I know it's a contentious topic on Reddit, so it's interesting to see it make its way through here in some comp and see all the reactions from the different players. We did see a bit of NA-EU rivalry to start this event. It seems to have died down as we switched over servers, but I'm hoping in the bottom of my heart that it reignites a little bit as we get to these last games. Remember that you can press !scores to check where your favorite breaker is placing in the lineup right now and see what they need to take home the money. OSK, anything before we get into the last game 5?
Man, we're just going to find out who's hungry. You have 2 more games to prove yourself, and we're only taking the best 4. So maybe if you're a little bit lower, like someone like Thorax, or maybe someone like Tfal, you need to go ahead and show up for these final 2. These could be the 2 that count towards your score even more than your bad games. So we're going to see who's going to be coming out hungry and ready to go ahead and take this $100 first place and the 60 and 40 respectively. Now we see Eureka in a little bit of an early engagement, not feeling too confident about it though. No belt on his body, no gear for that fact. He does have an epic toxic, which he can use for that Dragonfire combo with the fire. Finds himself a rune, and now he's feeling a lot better, but he is ignited for his troubles. He's feeling a lot worse now than 2 seconds ago, and Moktola is going to take it easily.
Yeah, I think one thing that might be overlooked by that play was Eureka throwing the Toxic Puddle down into himself to try to break away out of that one. That is a fatal mistake right there. Moktola read that entire play. Now we see Yovi with the beautiful Hollow still on his Tempest build. Now he's on a more comfortable server back in EU. Nasty Blizz in the kill feed gets counter Poppy Eternal. This is going fast here. This is something we see in these competitive lobbies in the high money tournaments, OSK, because you can throw away 2 games. If these players feel like they've had good games on the first 4, they start playing extremely aggressive because they know at the worst that happens, it's a throwaway game. I could see something like that coming from Cam Sucks, who's had 4 solid games to start off. Maybe he plays extremely aggressive, but nonetheless, we're seeing Next now make a bit of a push up. Teleport still on cooldown for just 6 more seconds, popping in a couple lightning bolts, but only 2 of them land. And now he's going to actually get first licks at this mana vault. Nice little bit of movement or waiting from him, being patient to secure what's important here, and that's the loot.
Yeah, unfortunately, all he can lick up is that epic fire. Now, it is a nice little increase of damage, but it's not... Oh, he actually gets the legendary teleport, so that's actually really smart. He was opting to keep his rare teleport on his person for the extra charge that he got out of it, but he doesn't have overload quite yet, as he just saw. So he's waiting until he knows he's safe to go ahead and pick it up, where he has that extra time for that 13-second cooldown on base with the legendary teleport, so he can get that charge up, feel a little bit better about himself, and then he's able to comfortably engage. So great stuff to be patient there. I know a lot of people, including myself, would just pick it right up and try to flee, but he does save his rune charge in case of emergency.
I mean, he has the legendary teleport as well with runic fluency, already double stacked off the talents. So Next is going to have super low cooldowns when it comes to that movement with teleport. Now we see Darkbreakers pushing up forward. Doesn't actually get much to track though. Doesn't follow that either. Throws a sorcery and a fireball but doesn't connect. Now Darkbreakers going even more aggressive, just not slowing down the pace of this fight as he gets CC'd and popped. Darkbreakers might just go down here. That's Ilya securing the kill, but I don't think it was Ilya doing the front side of the damage. The person who's responsible for that is running away from Ilya right now. Ilya trying to get the third party goal. They're going to be off cooldown in just half a second here. Jumps up and is definitely going to look for that angle. Slams the ground and gets a 44. That's crucial to the end of this fight. Ilya does not have much armor left now as he's getting chunked for flesh. Still pushing forward, but another player spots him with the lightning, and now there's just 2 angles coming down onto Ilya. Such a tough position as somebody teleports right into his face. Ilya still just managing to stay alive. Look at that. The best defense is a good offense as Ilya just dishes out the damage to keep these guys off of him.
Absolutely, and you're seeing why Ilya is just a master of positioning there, never diving quite too deep into a fight. He knows his opponent is fleeing, but he also knows to stay aware of something like that, where a conduit can come in and just swoop in for all of that damage. He uses that terrain perfectly. All of the hills, all of the trees that can block line of sight, it's exactly what he needs. And even when he sees the teleport coming in, he sees where his opponent is going to appear, already is laying down the fireballs, and the boulder is ready for him as well. Ilya just showing the massive brain on him today, as also in the kill feed with the massive brain, Kalnor is sealing out 2 exiles for his troubles.
You know, that's about the second or third time we have seen the massive burst that's available due to Stone Shaper. I think that's one of the key things to highlight when you talk about Stone Shaper in a competitive environment. In an area like this, when third parties are all the rage and getting a good angle into a third fight is how you secure a lot of your kills, having that burst from Stone Shaper with the massive boulder is so beneficial in some of these situations. But now, forgetting about that, we see very Crisp dropping in some lightning damage. 11 was the tick on that last lightning bolt as he throws out more and more pressure. Shadow Step off cooldown now. Crisp jumping forward, trying to get a secure here. I don't know if this is the move. His opponent looks like he has more mobility than the conduit. No teleport to speak of for the attachment on Crisp, so Shadow Step is all that's going to do him as he moves forward. Still 25 people left in this game, OSK. So looking at this from a macro sense, we actually still have quite a slow-paced game 5. Look at the fire boulder coming in from deep. Moktola doesn't get hit by that, but gets hit on the side by another shot. Now throwing out some return damage. Kalnor TTV gets a kill onto Reverend Jalapeno, the most classic bot name I've ever heard in my life, as Moktola now moving around the side. Doesn't want to engage this fight head on, OSK. Doesn't want to take this straight up.
Yeah, it looks like Kalnor is actually taking all of the bot kills, as that's 3 as I see in the kill feed. That's 5 total for him. That's just free points and free exiles that he can pick up off the bots there. I don't know if they're actual bots, but the names do look a little bit similar from what I've seen. So let's keep that in mind, as that might actually push him forward into a much higher placement than he was before, with the 4 best games that I keep saying over and over and over. Now, we do see Yobipoo getting himself into a bit of a situation here. That little Spellbreak symbol on his back looking a lot like a target, as he is getting targeted down. Looks like by 2. The second one is off of his radar here. and Yovi laying down the beautiful flash freeze to block that damage and getting damaged himself as he does not have a good follow-up.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to try to deal some damage back to the player
Oh!
pushing him. And look at the 50 connecting over the side now. Yovi, ooh, that would have been another highlight play after some great shots. Yovi-Poo, though, doing an amazing job of pushing off this player. I think this is something to highlight if you're new to the game and you're watching comp for some of the first times. When somebody pushes you aggressively, you have to dish damage back. If you just run away, they will continue chasing you with no problem. When you watch these very good Spellbreak players, they never get their foot off the gas. They always are looking for opportunities to deal damage, even in a defensive situation. Now, as we think about that, Yovi-Poo is taking some deep shots, not connecting much. Very Crisp does go down to Frozen NNQ on the fire. And now we see Yovi making his approach, a deep teleport from a far angle. Now he's going to look for a shot. Squall ticking him up, just a little bit of extra damage, but he's not going to take advantage. Wind jumps popping off, and he's looking for the recovery scroll to read, doing a little bit of homework as this game gets closer, OSK.
Absolutely. Play safe. The poet who didn't know it, he's just rhyming out here with his casting. And next, making himself quite huge in this game 5. You can see in the kill feed that he got Moktola and Megaverse. Those are huge pickups for him, as now he is rotating into the lowland outpost area. He is quite well looted with that legendary lightning on the conduit. That is going to be huge damage. T-Foul still rocking out here with the Stone Shaper, no less. Maybe he saw a little bit of results coming out for Megaverse and wants to give it a go himself on his off server. Now that Boulder Fall just charging up, does opt to go ahead and interrupt that. Nice boulder connecting for the big damage, and he is in that flat area that you want to be in as a Stone Shaper, but you have to keep in mind, we do have a lot of conduits in this particular lobby, and he is in a prime, this is a prime opportunity for him to get damaged out if he is not careful.
Yeah, I'm just really shocked by T-Foul's decision to go with the Stone Shaper. Looks like Megaverse really is making some waves in this finals round. T-Foul, though, does take a bit of damage from the boulder off the top, and now he's flying away. Look at the lightning damage still just peppering him as he tries to escape from the angle. Not quite in range to deal with the stone, so he's going to have to back out. His opponent has the lightning. T-Foul knows he doesn't have the appropriate distance to fight that, and he's going to use his flight rune defensively as a result. We're going to keep on bouncing around how we see Infinite Accuracy, who's been watched all day so far today. Can't quite get this one to go, though. What was that? Throwing down the Toxic Cloud at his own feet, and he will go down. It is so hard to escape from next. And that doesn't even include when he has legendary teleport, triple red up runic fluency. Next has that mobility to cover this map so quickly. As you see a cloud get blown up right in front of his face, he spots his opponent now. Oh! Deflects that fireball with the fireball of his own. Doesn't quite get the air shot, but look at the teleport. Next is just putting in that work. He's in the zone, OSK.
Absolutely, he is in the zone, but that zone is closing pretty quickly. Now he does see another engagement here to his right. Maybe he'll opt for a third-party situation as this opponent is getting absolutely melted. Trago getting the final hit, and next making sure he's not a final hit himself as he is just bursting down Trago quite quickly. And this is all she wrote for Trago, I would imagine. If he can't get over that wall, Next is going to go ahead and make mincemeat of him. But he doesn't. Next has to reposition. Maybe he'll pick up a nice exile here, but now he finds himself a bit overextended. If he can find himself maybe getting a little bit of armor shards, Trago actually gets out with his life intact, and Next has all of his armor melted off. So this is probably not the best situation for him. Trago going to seal it out. Excellent stuff.
Trago so patient right there, taking so much abuse from Next, but just staying calm in the moment, waiting for his chance to strike, and that is the power of Toxicologist Runic Fluency. As I'm hyping him up, he gets smacked. SK Schniggy sneaks his way in the backside now. Nasty, I apologize, he has two team names in there. Hard to keep track of which one he's representing, as Schniggy is now just backing up off the side. Dashes off cooldown. He's going to use it to actually escape out of this one completely. But wow, what a quick set of kills right there. Great job from Trago to stay focused and get a kill onto such an amazing player like Next. Unfortunately, Schniggy had the angle to come capitalize on the third party, and we are down to 10 people left in Game 5.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to start calling that area of Lowland Outpost the stock market, because we're doing a lot of trading over there, as now we have It's your boy Ross on the lower part in the ravine, holding it down pretty nicely. Now, this isn't PUBG. This is not Fortnite, so he will need to be careful about the lower ground right there instead of the cover it provides him. Yovipoo seeking out a target just a little bit low, just a little bit to the left. If he can just line up his shot a little bit better, he would have some free damage onto that man who is healing. Now, he does opt for the flight, just misses. Oh, this is a little bit unfortunate. Nice cancel off the fireball, but nothing doing as he will opt to take cover from another Frostborn, and he will just go ahead, see if he can engage on this man in the ravine. He is not finding anything meaningful. That wind shear coming out, maybe he can finish it out, but it's looking quite slow from my point of view.
Yeah, you see how much mechanics is required for Tempest to succeed at a competitive level. Kamsky, sit down. Yovipoo with the flick to end his life. As now he gets another opportunity to get a kill. Does take a frost shot from deep, but what a shot onto Kamsky. That was an amazing take, and a 73 will also fall into another opponent. He will not miss as he just keeps on doling out the damage. It's your boy Ross gets slapped as we keep this one going. Yovipoo does not stop today. These shots are just not ending as he goes back to back to back. One more is gonna go, but I don't believe that's a hit. That would have just been craziness as Yovipoo continues the slaying of the lobby. Moving forward now, just getting so aggressive. He has no fear in his heart. After hitting all of these shots, I don't know how to react anymore. I'm about to pass out as Yovipoo continues to slay. More and more death is unfolding as this Frost Gauntlet is putting in work, OSK.
Yovipoo, this amount of sorcery is against my religion as he is just not missing. Oh my goodness, I think my voice is about to be lost as I have yelled so much, and I'm about to yell again as he just lands shot after shot. Not perfect, but it's damn near, as now he is looking on the lower part of this zone right here. If he can land any sort of free shot, again, I might lose my mind.
Yeah, he did get ambushed a little bit by the Stone Shaper, but Yovipoo does get some distance. This is crucial. Can Yovipoo get a full pot off and make sure he has at least 100 HP going into these final sets? He does have scavenging, so he will get armor off a kill, but look at the damage from the Pyro. It's so hard to contest that. He hits a beautiful shot, but he does get slain by No One TV, and that is the end of the run for our hero. What a set of shots just popping off from Yovan as we see the end of Game 5. We have to refocus on what's in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. 3 people left. Game 5 ticking down. Gigabyte gets a little bit of space to drink a pot. He will have focus mana as well, triple stack, but the fireballs are just laying out the damage. Conflagration is hitting him from AoE. Gigabyte does get himself up in the sky. Still 3 people left. Green flight with long cooldown. OSK, this is a tough spot to be in for Gigabyte.
Absolutely, and the way this works is that he has to land at some point to get that flight off, and he's going to go ahead and get Schniggy out of here. That's one less threat to deal with, but now his opponent with the Frost is all focused on him. He will have to go ahead and cycle that flight. Now, if he can just burst this down like he is, this might be the best opportunity for him. There's the lightning, and that's what we were talking about with the additional strikes, laying it down 1 to 2. Beautiful stuff from Gigabyte to seal that out with 5 exiles. And I believe our hero, Yovi, is smiling right now as he knows he just popped off for a second time tonight.
One of the funniest comments I just read as this chat whips by is he says he misses the easiest shots but connects on the most ridiculous ones. And that just says it right there. He took the craziest shots. He wasn't even looking for the easy angles. He was looking for the crazy through the tornado off the top, connecting on back-to-back shots. I know he didn't win the game, but I think he won that one in our hearts. Nonetheless, Gigabyte was the victor in Game 5. He kept himself calm, dealt with that AoE. We talked about the power of the Conduit final circle with that long-term AoE, multiple striking lightning, finishes the game, and we're about to get into the final game. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it sounds crazy, but we're not even done yet. We have one more game in the Element Phoenix Finals, the solo tournament, and we are going to see who takes home all the money right now, OSK.
Absolutely, absolutely. We did not see quite a few names in that final circle that maybe we have recognized. Gigabyte being one of them, Yovi being another, but Kamsky was nowhere to be seen. However, he did get 1 exile. The damage, though, is what really saves him. Over 1,300 damage for the 1 exile. So that damage score is going to be carrying him quite well. I just want to point that out. Next as well, didn't show up in the top 10, but he is rocking a nice 1,100. So we still have to keep that in mind. Exiles and damage are going to be factoring in quite a bit, even more so than placements. So it's very, very advantageous for you to start playing aggressive, especially in this last one. If you can get a big exile count, if you can get a lot of damage, even if you don't win the lobby, you can still win the score.
Yeah, and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, at home, if you want to check the scores before we get into the final game, just hit !scores in the chat. You can see exactly where your favorite breakers are ending up. Remember that this is the last game, like you said, the last opportunity to flip the scoreboard. First place is going to take home $100 after this game, and that includes other rewards for second and third. More money to give out, OSK, and we got a lot of intense games to go. Sorry, not intense games, one more intense game to go. We've had intense games, and that little clip from Jovan was an example right there. Just the Frost flicks back-to-back. Tempest, we said, was one of the most beautiful classes to watch when played at a high level, and that was damn near perfect.
Damn near. You are absolutely correct. He started off a little bit shaky, but once he finds his rhythm, he just does not stop, landing shot after shot after shot. One of the more impressive showings that we've seen out of anybody at an Element event. That was absolutely gorgeous. And now getting into game 6, hopefully we can find a little bit more of that. If Yobi can pull himself to do that again, I would imagine he's going to boost his score quite a lot, as he's not someone who is really in our conversation for the top 5 at halftime, but my goodness, is he making himself a part of it now.
And to review for anybody, the top 3 sitting right now is Kamsky. Next actually managed to pull himself up into contention to take the first place. And in third place is Megaverse. Also, the top 3 scores are all within 100 points of each other. This final game, I am not joking, will decide the event. It is rare that we get this type of situation where the last game places 1, 2, and 3 into the money. So this is going to be a crazy, shaky game, and we are ready to see what happens here. I'm sticking with my bet on Kamsky. I'm confident in him taking the win, but I know you have some different ideas, OSK.
Well, you see my pocket pick up there in third place. He is in a prime position to take all of it. It's all going to depend on how he does in game 6. We know his current games, as they are right now, apparently are only good enough to get him third place. So he will need to go ahead and show up in a big way. And like I said earlier, getting into the EU next is showing up quite nicely. And if the rate that he is going, he will definitely pass up Kamsky, I would imagine. But we're all going to find out right here. Megaverse gets a kill onto Claps early on, and that's just a beautiful snowball to go ahead and drop maybe even a 7 bomb again. But we shall find out here very shortly.
Yeah, Stone Shaper is actually certainly, in my opinion, one of those classes that does have a real snowball effect. You pick up a couple kills, you start picking up the loot off of your opponent, and because of the durability in the class, you can keep picking fights back to back. Very crisp, though, actually, on the Conduit, not Stone Shaper, so you see him moving around here. Common Lightning, not going to do him very much good. Recklessness as well. Interesting choice, and I would love to hear your opinion really quick on this one, OSK. The Escapist selection here from Very Crisp.
That's not Escapist, that's Recklessness.
Oh, it's Recklessness.
But anyway, Recklessness is actually very, very good for Crisp. Now, his main focus is going to be in the Harmony on his Mind slot and the Fervor on his Body slot. So he's just picking a 1-cost talent to kind of cover it. He's going for the CC-free cast speed and then the extra damage when he's out of armor. As we know, getting into the late game, armor is hard to come by. Diego Contra lands up a nice little shot. He'll have to teleport out to land up another one, and that's going to be easy pickings for him.
Oh my goodness, it looked like his life got saved by the scavenging proc as well. Just getting the HP off the shot there, securing it onto Thorax, and he drops him right there. But anyway, great points you're bringing up about Recklessness right there. It is quite solid with Conduit, I find as well. Once you get your armor broken, you can deal an insane amount of damage with the added effect of that Recklessness. You do not lose any mana. You can keep on holding down the trigger and spraying somebody down. Speaking of which, Gigabyte gets a kill onto infinite accuracy using that Conduit build that we saw in that Game 5 victory for him. Here's his angle first person. That's actually his second kill. Focus mana is on the talent once again. So Gigabyte keeping on running back that same strategy as Trago TV gets a kill with the fire, and we keep this one rolling. 27 people in Game 6, the final match of the Phoenix Element Tournament.
Yeah, it's not even first zone cleared out, and we're already almost halfway through the lobby. This is going very, very quickly. Everybody has turned on the Jets, and they are playing so aggressively out of their minds. They know that they can't have a poor showing here. This might be one of the top 4 games that they take with them. Even if you go out swinging, at least you went out swinging. So here we see Majin just getting the superior position here. He has the vertical superiority, and now opting to get out of the line of sight of that conduit. He only has the offhand. Kamsky getting a nice exile on the Megaverse, so that might seal him out from the top 3 positions. We'll have to see how that unfolds, but definitely making a ripple in the water as Gigabyte goes down as well, and Soft getting a nice kill onto the bot known as Spin Cycle.
What is Majin doing here? He's already been spotted. I think he knew that. I'm not exactly sure what the mentality here was, as he's going to lose a lot of armor for such a mistake. He's getting pushed on aggressively now as Majin tries to break his way out. Remember, Majin was running the conduit in the first 3 games. He has switched over to the Pyro on EU, seeing if that's going to pay off for him. Only 23 people left in this game 6. This has been a hugely quick lobby. People have just been dying left and right, as it looks like there's just no stopping to it. We accidentally bounced one too far, as Camsucks is now the one rotating around the side. Bastion LMAO with that beautiful new skin as well. And we see Soft in the middle of some action, trying to throw the kill shot fireball. We know his opponent is low. We just saw that quick player card pop up. Soft getting down to the bottom side now. Actually not seeing much action in front, so we're going to take the opportunity to pot, but there's the opponent. Firewall is going to block the Frost, but nice dash with the Esky to avoid the incoming damage. And now Soft looking for the air shot, doesn't quite get it now. Gets the second to go though. Ignite's going to stick, and Soft does have a chance. Both players are so low though. Quick Frost Sorcery, is this the move? Will Soft get this to go now, as he misses the backup air shot and he's getting pushed? Soft now has one more chance to make this one break through. Dash off cooldown. See how he's going to use it. Both shots get deflected as that one lands off the conflagration, or excuse me, the extra AoE. And look at that. Soft does finish the kill onto Wolf. The Pyro advantage over Frostborn when you're trading with fire. The extra ignite damage made all the difference, but it looks like it's not going to make a difference at the end here. Soft gets third party. He took just a bit too long securing that kill, and now we see Moktola on a rampage, dropping off that lightning damage, running through his own firewall to take the Firefly, connects with a 30, Ignite's gonna start sticking, and look at Moktola just slaying No One TV, dropping him off for his 3rd kill of the game.
It was about time that he turned on the Jets. We all know that he can do it, and he is absolutely dominating right now. That Pyromancer coming out with the Firefly and all the skills that go with it. He kind of caught himself there in between. I don't think that's 2 people, actually. I think that's a teleport reposition. But look at this little alcove he's able to find. He's not going to be able to stay very long, but now he's just getting zoned out, as his opponent does end up getting stunned, actually. And this might be a good opportunity to go ahead and get a nice little potion off, but that line of sight is being maintained. Now, if he can dip below these buildings, maybe he can find himself a nice little place to get a potion off, but a third party will come in, or rather a teleport, as Tfal will just finish off his prey.
Yeah, Tfal smelt blood in the water right there. You are not getting away from him. He knew where you were headed, as Kamsky gets a kill into Majin. 16 people left, OSK. This lobby is filtering quickly. People just want to get this last game going, as we have a quick little fight unfolding. It looks like Tfal is going to be the one to take some shots, but nothing landing. He will keep a very close eye on where that opponent is going to rotate to. We know Tfal is somebody who follows the macro of the game very closely, always adjusting the route that he takes through the circle. And now you see him kind of going off the bottom side. Teleport is going to do him some help here to keep this rotation moving. He is not afraid to be ticked by the circle just a little bit. It's not a big worry when you're rocking that conduit. You can just keep on moving. Sees an opponent though, takes a couple more lightning bolts, but they don't connect. Tfal now sorceries both off cooldown, uses the first one. Doesn't get any damage though. Teleport is up as well. Look at that quick other second sorcery with the CC, but no land. Teleport to the far side. Tfal getting out of this one. This is a really good example of how to keep your teleport and keep it dynamic, making sure you're choosing new ground, not just rotating to other sides of the mountain. You're always bouncing up to new spots as Tfal looks to slide out of this one.
Yeah, notice how he's being very efficient with his teleport usage, not opting for the double, and he knows that with the sorcery, with the overload skill from Conduit, he can always recharge it if he needs it. Also, that sorcery is going to allow him to use that skill Power Surge, which can definitely empower his focus mana lightning bolts along with the potential energy. So he is opting for the high damage Conduit build here, absolutely devastating in the right circumstance. So we will need to keep an eye on that. But Darkbreaker is finding himself on his signature build here with Stone Shaper and the Wind Shear offhand. So he will need to teleport out because it's just too much pressure for the the amount of resources he has. If he can find some extra armor shards, that'll definitely be useful. And we see Kalnor here on the outside part of the zone. This is actually the third rotation, so these players will need to be very, very careful. They find themselves on the opposite end of this zone. That is quite the distance to close, so we'll keep that in mind for later. Kamsky finding a nice exile onto Yobi-Poo, so his reign of terror is over. And now Kalnor just playing long range with a non-long range gauntlet.
Yeah, and for those at home who like to crunch the numbers, keep a close eye on the kill feed. Once you see Kamsky maybe drop 2 more exiles with decent damage, that might be enough to secure that first place. We know that Megaverse has, I believe, been dropped out of this round so far, so it's going to be a tough finish right now for Kamsky to try to secure this dub. Diego Contra, though, jumping out now with the Flight Rune, taking a little bit of lightning off to the side. He will pot well running on Alacrity. This is a very simple tip for anybody who plays Frostborn, but if you're new to the game, you can sprint on that Alacrity while drinking a potion. Makes you much harder to hit or get interrupted. So great little tip from Diego Contra as we see Kamsky showing you guys what it really looks like on Conduit as he throws out the lightning bolts, stick into his opponent, but doesn't actually follow through the door now. Gets a window jump, nice little mobilities. He blocks the opponent's fireball with his own, sees where the teleport's coming out from the enemy, and repositions up on this high ground now, looking for that tower defense style Conduit. Trying to find this angle, knows both players must be just minuscule HP at this point, as Kamsky will actually opt to just pot out here.
Yeah, he's opting to take the safe approach, which is very, very nice. He did have some rather poor showings comparatively for himself in the NA side of things for 2 of the games. So maybe looking to really pop off here. I do have to correct you a little bit. He is rocking the Pyromancer, so that is just a lightning offhand that he's using. Still able to pump out quite a bit of damage. Maybe he's looking for the stun into the fire combo, but either way, he is getting bursted down by a true Conduit here, as there is no way that burst damage comes from any other class on a lightning. Getting caught out here outside of the zone. He is out of cover relatively, so he'll opt to pop the greedy armor shard here. If he can rotate around towards one of those houses, he'll be in a much better position. This zone is going to be hungry for his health, as he does need to be careful for other players as well. Trago opting to hide behind this rock and plays. Look at the positioning from all of these different players. They are playing this expertly. I didn't even know that rock was there, to be honest.
Yeah, they definitely want to play this one slow, as they know the chances are here to take some money home. We know that Kamsky, if he goes down, this is going to get a lot more interesting. He's currently sitting in first place, and he's having a fantastic round here in this Game 6 situation. But if he dies, the window starts to become a little bit more open for somebody to maybe sneak the first place out. You see T-File gets a kill of his own, and now this is somebody who could take the dub with a good enough performance. This is Cam Sucks. Moving up the side now, he's on Stone Shaper with the lightning offhand. Pretty solid, versatile build from him, just lacks a bit of mobility. But nonetheless, we see another Stone Shaper with Ilya. This time he's opting for the wind offhand. OSK, quickly before we see the final fight, you want to break down for me what the choice might be, but actually forget about it. We're right into a fight now. Ashenfrost got 2 people on 2 different angles as he takes a huge shot from the tower. Now getting behind a little bit of line of sight, gets jumped on right away, and that might be his end. Diego Contra actually the one who gets credited with the kill from deep, as Schniggy now is moving around the side of this house. Frozen NNQ gets a kill onto Darkbreakers, and we are almost into single digits here, OSK.
Absolutely. There's only 10 people left in this final circle, and it is converging a little bit quickly. I do believe that we will have 1 extra zone instead of the final that comes out. Now, Cam looking like he's between 2 people here, opting for the ravine. I don't know if that's the right decision to go out of the zone at this point. It's ticking pretty hard now, and just look at the damage whenever it closes out. This is not the final circle situation, but it is second to last, as that zone tick is going to be huge in about 20 seconds. Kamsky finding another kill onto Diego Contra, as Ilya finds himself in the middle of an engagement here, rocking the wind, like you said, to maybe boost the distance on that boulder fall, but also if he's in a close range situation, to go ahead and seal out and clean up an easy exile that might be floating a little too high for his stone. That would be my analysis on that. But next is making an analysis of his own, saying this is not a great opportunity to go ahead and engage here, as the zone is closing. I'm getting damaged out of my mind. And now that final zone tick is going to be coming in if he's not quick enough. The Shadow Step finally off a cooldown, but an enemy right in front of him. This is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, next might be on his last ropes here, but he does actually make a nice shadow step over to break line of sight. He would have gone away with this one for just half a second, but no, it's not enough space. Tfal follows him through and finishes the kill, but look at Tfal now. He's actually getting focused from two different angles. Nasty Schniggy goes down to what seems like the storm. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that's not a fracture, as Tfal now drops a nice CC, and look at the conduit damage there, as Tfal is so close to ending this, man. Kamsky just gets sat down like a school student as Tfal puts him in his place with a fireball flick.
Is that what we're going to name the novice skin? Is that going to be school student? Because that is very fitting in my mind. Anyway, Tfal rocking the 4 exiles here, showing that it's not just accuracy with his conduit lightning, it's also on the fireball, as he can land just about everything here. Now the ping is showing itself here. It is a little bit difficult for him to go ahead and land some of those lightning bolts, but that one will land, and it's just one more target to take care of. This, I would imagine, is Ilya. And it is, as he just makes short work of him. Excellent stuff from Tfal. That is going to conclude Game 6, and what a finals it was.
Yeah, that was a fantastic set of games right there. You saw Tfal with some beautiful air shots to just send us all home there. We are going to just take a second, make sure all the scores are counted up properly. It's going to be just a minute. We'll keep up you guys with some a little bit of analysis while we wait for those to get finalized. We will show you live on stream who won today. We will make all those announcements. But before, let's talk about what we just witnessed right there. All 6 of those games, we also saw a bit of a meta shift. I saw a lot of toxicologists in the first 3 games. We move over to EU, and surprisingly enough, people like Tfal, who are playing on high latency, still move and stay with the conduit selection. What do you think about that? What do you make about that choice? Is it just too powerful as a class?
You know what? I think it's a mix of the nature of the gauntlet, the spell itself, and also fervor. We know that builds that include the Frost Gauntlet are going to be a little bit less used on that off ping, especially by NA players who travel over there. With the Frost Gauntlet, you have to be accurate on your first shot, and that's going to be very, very hard on a harder ping. With the lightning, the nature of the spell itself, it fires so fast and so rapidly that you can actually just miss the first shot, but recover very, very easily. It's almost like an assault rifle in that sense. If you miss the first shot, you can control your recoil and get back on your target pretty easily. And with Conduit, what it brings with it is not only the nature of the Lightning Gauntlet, but Power Surge allows you to have that extra bit of mana. So maybe if you miss your first few shots, you have that extra 4 seconds to make up for yourself. And the focus mana as well, as long as you're doing well and firing away, getting that potential energy stacked up with the focus mana, you're able to land some big damage even if your aim is not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, something I do want to point out too as well about that conduit setup we saw from Tfal is it wasn't all just the lightning gauntlet. His final kill onto Ilya was with that offhand fire, and those were some beautiful direct shots. So it is a great point you bring up, but I also think the strength of Conduit, the true power in Conduit in competitive, is the fact that these players are so talented with the Lightning Gauntlet itself, they don't even need that offhand. But when you add that offhand power, you add that variability, it just makes the class so hard to deal with. Tfal could fight you up close, he can fight you from distance, and he can work you no matter what the situation is. That's also credit to him. I can't take anything away from Tfal. He's a cracked player. But nonetheless, we saw a lot of cracked plays today. Jovan, for one, with that Tempest. All sorts of different action we saw. Megaverse with the high burst Stone Shaper build. Yep. This was a fantastic event. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking with us and watching through.
Absolutely. We're getting that top 5 score up here pretty shortly for you. It'll just take a moment for us to calculate it all down. Now, a few names I saw out there maybe won't make the top 5, but I do want to call out Gigabyte had some great showings. Darkbreaker's put on a show for us in game 1, and also we need to talk about Ilya too. He had some masterful positioning today, and I don't think that can go unnoticed. In multiple situations, he found himself towards the edge of the zone, out of the main fight, but with still enough damage and enough awareness to go ahead and land some free damage as a third party. I think he's probably one of the more knowledgeable people in the game right now. He's certainly playing like it, and I'd love to see him come out for more events if we can have him on to show us how it's done. I
mean, one thing I also want to mention as you keep on bringing up some of the players we saw today is Next. He had a very, very good set of games. We cannot forget this player. He shows us that every time. The second that we stop talking about him, you see his name pop up in the kill feed with a triple piece, and it's that type of relationship with Next in competitive. He showed us once again today how high level he can be. I believe he did finish in the money. We're going to confirm all of that before I say anything. We got to make sure all the scorecards have been double checked. We do not want any confusion. It's just going to be another minute before we show you guys the results. But still, I'm just taken aback by that type of shift in meta. I think it's the only time I have ever seen in these competitive events a full switch of classes. People went from that pyrotoxicologist, more common, to this Tempest, a couple Tempest players, but Conduit Stone Shaper. Those classes really came out in the final 3 games, and I think that is something to take away from this event. Tons of highlight plays, though, from all sorts of players.
Yeah, absolutely. Many highlight reels. I'm sure that while we didn't get it on camera, Kalnor even on the EU side of things had a pretty nice game with at least 5 exiles that we saw in the kill feed. So I'd imagine if we could get his point of view, maybe sometime in the future, we'll include that in a highlight reel as well. Also saw some great stuff from Trago at one point. We saw great stuff from Ross. Really, I feel like everybody in this tournament at some point or another had a highlight reel that they can share with their friends. It was absolutely amazing, even in a competitive event, no less. That's what makes it even more special, is that you come out here in a competitive event, you have the best players from North America and Europe, and you're able to really just show off your skills in such a dominant fashion. And I think that's something truly special that we can share.
You know what's so special to me, OSK? Aside from the games, I'm reading chat here and I see somebody say it's 2 a.m. in Japan. We have people from all over coming to watch these events, and I think that is what is so special about this community and this game. We are so, so happy to have you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we're ready to show you guys the final stats. Let's bring them up right now.
Let's see. And I think no one will be surprised at first place as we have Kamsky. Look at that beautiful damage score. A lot lower than his qualifier 5, but he will still win the $100 pretty easily. More than 100 points of margin between him and second. Speaking of second, it is your boy Next. Had a poor showing in qualifier 4, but coming out with the second place finish in the finals. I knew he would. We knew it was a fluke, and he is proving that today. Third place, going to be my personal pick to win the whole thing. T-Foul winning that $40 with the 968, and my pocket pick not too far behind him.
I gotta say, though, it is heartbreaking to look at that 3rd to 4th. T-Foul just yoinked Mega versus money, OSK. You had $40 ready to go, and T-Foul just had to take it from him. Less than 10 points, and he robs Megaverse of that money placement. That is just unfortunate, but it's well-deserved. T-Foul had a fantastic game in Game 6, keeping himself focused, not losing sight of the goal of getting some money. And we see that Kamsky Next, T-Foul top 3. This is exactly what people were expecting. These guys are interchangeable. They are so, so high level. It just comes down to the games that they play in the moment. We see Kamsky Next, T-Foul in that 1, 2, 3 order. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple more stats to show you guys, courtesy of our amazing tournament operations team ran by Thunderson, Nikolai, Borsa, Zen, all those guys. We got the wrong spreadsheet up right here. This looks like an empty one, but nonetheless, we'll show you guys the advanced stats of the tournament in just a second here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one name you didn't mention there that I want to bring to our attention is going to be Gigabyte. Everybody likes to rip on this guy because for some reason playing on controller is bad manners. But we know that he is such a cracked player. Even on that input that he likes to run, everybody's giving him heck for rocking the aim assist or whatever argument you want to use. But he is proving out today that even without all of that, put all that aside, he is still absolutely cracked. Able to take out a top 5 finish. And like him, hate him, love him, whatever you want to do, you cannot deny. He came out today and he performed even better than Ilya, who is just behind him at 6th place. So great stuff to Gigabyte. I think we'll see a lot more of him.
Yeah, so the stats, actually, this is kind of a cool thing to mention. I'm getting word right now that there's so many people checking out our final stats that the spreadsheet is having trouble processing. So if it's taking longer for you to load, it's because we are over flooding the spreadsheet. So that's just a mark of how supportive you guys have been, how interested you guys are in these events. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart and from this team at Element. Before we wrap it up, I just want to give a shout out to Nikolai Hexside Jovan for supplying graphics and all the hard work that goes into these events. Ladies and gentlemen, it may look easy, but there is a lot going on for these things to get held. All of these qualifiers building up to this incredible tournament. I am so happy with how this is all going, Element, Spellbreak, and everything. We want to say thank you, and a quick reminder as well that the donations and subscriptions that we receive on Twitch during these events and qualifiers go 100% towards future events and their funding. All of your donations and contributions go towards more of these fantastic events. OSK, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Man, I just want to say thank you all for coming out. It's been a month worth of events for qualifiers, and then the finally. We did end up stretching out a month over this event. So it's just testament that we have all of these people out for every single event that we have, qualifiers and finals. Thank you all so much for coming out, showing your support, dropping those subscriptions, dropping those raids. We do not miss them. We see them all the time. And while we can't yell them out in game, I can yell them out now. So thank you all so much for coming out and supporting us the way that you do. And again, 100% of this goes towards prize pools. Plays has no money. I have no money. It's all going to you, the players who perform in these events. So congratulations to all of you. You have been wonderful.
Also, another quick note before we get going here, there is another event coming up in the upcoming weeks. You guys can check out Element through !Element to please join the community. We have a trios event coming up with this next one, so it's going to be a huge shakeup in everything you've seen. The action is way more dynamic, and I'm really excited for you guys to experience trios with the rest of us. Again, on behalf of Element, I want to say thank you all, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Take care.
Absolutely. And one last thing to mention, we'll see you on Monday for some casted scrims, absolutely live here, October 12th. Set your calendar. It'll be up on your screen here in just a second, and sign up. We want to see you come out to practice so you can rock the competition here in our main events. So we'll see you on Monday.